шовковім полі, я полкового знамена, дивлюсь на нього я востаннє, у нез'ясованій журбі, всю кров мою зі скидання, воно вібрало у собі, всю кров
Прийшли окупанти до нас в Україну, форма новенька, воєнні машини, та трохи поплавився їх інвентар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Російські танкісти сховались в кущі, щоб лаптем посьорбати довбані щі, та трохи у чах перегрівся навар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Приперли зі сходу до нас барани для восстановлення
великой страны.
Найкращий пастух баранячих отар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Їх доводи всяке озброєння різне, потужні ракети, машини залізні. У нас на всі доводи є коментар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Вони захопити хотіли нас зразу, а ми зачаїли на орків образу з російських бандитів. Робить примар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Російська поліція справи заводить, та вбивцю рашистів ніяк не знаходить. Хто винен, що в нашому полі глухар? Байрактар, Байрактар. Веде пропаганду кремлівський урод, слова пропаганди ковтає народ. Тепер нове слово знає цар.
Байрактар.
Байрактар. Байрактар.
Байрактар.
Байрактар.
Yes.
The Leaf Street Army sends its regards.
О, бля! Игорь!
Hello, everyone. I'm the Enforcer, and I'm accompanied by Enforcer Matt.
And good evening, folks. It's Enforcer Matt, and welcome back to day 430 of the news. And we are now bachelors.
And we are now bachelors of the arts and sciences. I'm actually a bachelor of the sciences. Matthew is a bachelor of the arts. And now we can say that, in a way, we are kind of professionals. We went to graduation today. It was at 8:30 in the morning, which, as many of y'all know, we had to get up at about 5:30, which means that after the stream ended, we got like 3 hours of sleep. We went to the graduation. We had the graduation, and both of us ended up graduating as magna cum laude, which is the range in between 3.7 to 3.8 GPA. So we did pretty good. So that is now over and done with. We have now finally graduated college. And man, what a trip it's been, because the entire time I've been running this stream, I have always had college going on in the background. Always had to be attending to assignments and grades, because I never took a break from college. I just went full credits every single semester all year round. And so now, for the first day ever, I don't have any college assignments to do. And it's really weird, because I expect that I need to be doing something after the stream or the next day, and there's nothing to do. So that's actually really weird. But sadly, of course, all good things must have an opposite to it, because just a few hours after we came home and we got done celebrating with our parents that we had just graduated and went out to eat and everything, we came home and we let our corgis out in our front yard, and Sheba, which y'all haven't seen before on camera, ended up getting bit by a poisonous snake, and now she's in the vet, and she's being treated. But on the bright side, not to fear anyone, she is, from what the vet said, because we just called right before the stream started, she's doing good. She's doing so good that they say she doesn't even need anti-venom. So we're pretty happy with that. That was very scary, though, for a little bit, because her head swelled up like a basketball, and, and she was keeping a good spirit about the whole thing, but we were like, yikes. But anyways.
But Sheba's built like a tank, so she'll make it through. That's really good, though. She doesn't even need anti-venom, because if she needed that, I'd be concerned.
Yeah, we were so concerned for a little bit. I was nervous, and and I was sitting there talking about, we call her a little piggy because she's shaped like a pig a little bit. But we're like, a little piggy, this and that. And I almost started tearing up thinking about the poor thing, but luckily she's all right. So with that, we ended up graduating, both of us magna cum laude, and our dog got bit by a snake. And so with that, we're now going to be moving on into today's news, and let me make sure to highlight this marker properly, because it wasn't. But anyways, we're going to be moving on into Perm, and starting off in the town of Perm, where we saw that Sevastopol was not the only town to have an oil facility catch on fire and burn. At the Multivelican plant in Perm, there was also a massive oil fire. We do not know if this one was caused by partisan activity, an accident, or a drone attack, but here's the clip of the raging fire at this oil facility as well, once again billowing the toxic black oil smoke into the air. That's the end of that clip, but once again showing that the Russians are having a very hard time keeping the oil that they drill right out of the ground inside of Russia, which is the second largest producer of oil in the world. We're now going to be moving on into Moscow, where we can see that Russian propaganda is, of course, twisted and sick. Russian propaganda is unbelievably twisted and goes to great lengths to lie. And one thing that y'all may know yesterday is that we covered the missile attacks, the brutal missile attacks that slaughtered Ukrainian citizens across the entirety of the nation, with one of those worst examples being in the town of Uman, where at the last count, 27 people had been killed inside of an apartment building that was struck by a missile. The Russians today reported that the Ukrainians had been shelling and killing citizens and civilians within the occupied territories of Ukraine, and they ended up using video footage of Uman and the attack that the Russians committed against the Ukrainians to try and make the Russian public and the occupied territories believe that they had actually been attacked instead. Here's the clip. And I'll also be reading off the subtitles. I'm sorry, actually, this is not the right clip. I actually had two clips, and it ends up that I got the Russian subtitled one. Anyways, I'll try and paraphrase what the English subtitled one said, because I watched the whole thing earlier. Today, Ukrainian attacks in the Donbass continued, with the Ukrainians attacking several cities, including Yakovlivka, among many others, and killing around 20 people. And then the Russian news shows a clip saying that this is actually within one of those towns in the occupied area of Uman and the building that was hit by the missile and collapsed yesterday. And this has got to be the sickest thing. This would be like Al-Qaeda committing the attacks on 9/11 against the World Trade Center, and then showing the footage in areas wherever Al-Qaeda operates and saying, look what the Americans did today, killing all of these people, and that's why the Americans are evil. And saying that the Americans were the ones that flew the jets into the towers. That's about what the Russians are doing right here to the 30 people that they killed just yesterday, is they're trying to make it seem like the Ukrainians actually killed these people, and these people were Russians living in occupied territory. It's the sickest thing ever. I've never seen propaganda that has been this blatant, because we just watched this clip the other day, and we saw, because it was a 2-minute uninterrupted clip, that Ukrainian firefighters and first responders were inside that building pulling out dead bodies. And so we know it's a Ukrainian building. We know that the attack was a Russian attack, and yet they're going to make it sound like this didn't happen in Ukraine. It happened in the DPR or the LPR. And so with that, we're going to be moving on from this clip. It's sickening to think that they lie like that. And we're now going to be moving on down into the area of Tambov. Now, this clip is not really located in any specific area. We don't really know where it was, but I put it near the Tambov area because it's kind of rural Russia, so it counts in a way. But we saw that the Russians had a children's parade today, dressing up their kids in World War II in modern military uniforms, at least miniature versions of it, and then marching them through. The mayor said that this is the beginning of a long-standing tradition, and I have to say, I'm not really one to say that patriotism is bad, but this is practically indoctrination. They may as well be putting these kids in the Hitler Youth at this point. So here's the clip. They're getting these kids ready for the special military operation. No pay, no food, and no ammo.
How long before they actually start using kids this young for war?
I wouldn't doubt if it was soon, actually. I mean, you see here they have some kids dressed up like VDV. Just to remind everyone, the VDV was slaughtered during the Battle of Hostomel at the opening of the war, where around 200 Russian airborne forces landed, and the Ukrainians were able to wipe out nearly 150 of them before the main column pushed the Ukrainians back off the airfield around the 27th of February. So it's interesting to see that they're dressing up the kids in probably the uniform of what was the worst military disaster for the Russians in terms of its implication over the course of the whole war. But anyways, we're going to be moving on from that little clip. Once again, pretty wild to see. This is actually in Yesk, Russia, but I didn't see that earlier when the caption was written. It appears to have actually been located and changed. But with that, we're now going to be moving on from Russia and on into Ukraine, where we can see real action being taken to ensure that things like this will not really be lasting for that much longer, at least Russian lies, or even oil refineries on fire due to the war, most likely, as we saw that a column of martyrs were in training in western Ukraine today, most likely still preparing for the counteroffensive that will be coming, from what we understand, incredibly soon. Here's the video. We're going to have to mute it, but we can see them driving through some small tank traps, Dragon's Teeth as they're called, and we can see the column advancing through the open fields on the training ground. This area also does not appear to be as affected by Rasputitsa as most of the frontline areas in Ukraine. The ground appears to be relatively dry compared to most of the fields where the fighting is currently going on. But it is incredibly interesting, and it's very good to see that the Ukrainians are finally getting into well practice with a lot of these Western APCs, like this Martyr right here that they're riding on top of. We can see them spinning around to the turret. We can see the turret of the Martyr right there with most likely the gunner sticking out of his hatch. And we can see the soldier here showing off the Martyr and the crew as they continue to trudge along through this training field. A very interesting clip to see, and once again showing that Western support has been never-ending, and hopefully this kind of support will bring an end to this war, or at least allow the Ukrainians to deliver a death nail to the Russian army somewhere in the southern area of Ukraine. With that, we're going to be moving on from that little bit of news and on into our location unknowns. And we have a pretty decent amount of them today, and some of these were absolutely wild. And also, wait, hang on, you gotta see that. Oh, well, I thought that was going to be like a bot or something. That was a bot, but it's not a bot I can even address. Anyways, we can see that Ukraine today, on a location unknown video, was able to recapture a trench. And this one was a pretty wild trench retaking because they had to retake it from the wild ferret.
Oh no.
Як його витягнути, бля?
So how the hell do we get it out? He can probably bite,
Понятно, що він зараз
but it's
пасив.
clear that you'll not bite our fingers.
Я не знаю, як його
I don't know how to get it out.
Блін, я
Damn, I'll lay a mat. Maybe you'll get out on
Він
it.
по ньому може вилізти. Тихо. Тако. Опа.
You see the thing's backed him
Давай.
into a corner and screaming. He says, come on,
Виходь.
go. And it screams at him again.
Куда?
That thing's pissed
О,
off.
бля, диви, він хоче...
Oh, damn, it wants to attack. Sounds of death.
Чекай, я знаю, що.
Oh, wait,
Мабуть,
I
я
know.
броніка
I'll
кину,
throw a
да?
bulletproof vest in there.
По броніку він точно вилізе.
Using a bulletproof vest, he'll definitely get out.
Тихо, тихо. Так, бляха, він
Quiet,
нападає.
quiet. So, damn, don't attack.
О. По броніку він виліз.
Using a bulletproof vest, it will get
Пішов.
out.
Пішов.
Come on, go.
Пішов. Пішов.
We now see it
Давай,
climbing
давай,
up the
давай,
bulletproof
давай.
vest and out of the trench on into the wild.
Man, that thing would mess you up worse than that beaver would that they used to have in the trench.
Man, that thing was angry. And I think it was a wild ferret. Let me pull that up. Because I want to know what that thing was. Wild ferret.
It looked like it might be a badger.
I don't know, because those European badgers, they look really different. I'll show you real quick. This is a European badger, which is one of the ones you would find in Ukraine. Very different, like very cute though. I love European badgers. They look, in my opinion, way cuter than an American badger. This is an American badger.
Ugh.
It looks a little mean. So I really like the European badgers a lot more. They look cute. But it looked to me to be a wild ferret. I don't know, though, because this one does look a little different, and it doesn't really have as bushy of a tail. Some people are saying it was a polecat. Let's pull that up. European polecat. It was a polecat.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. And let's listen to the noise. That sounds like it if it wasn't homicidal, you know, in that little trench. So it is a European polecat. These things are these things are actually really cute. I'm not going to lie. I really like them. Oh, look at it. But man, that thing will kill you. I mean, like, I think that's like the only animal of its size that I would actually say a person might not be able to take this thing on just because it was so freaking ferocious. This thing was vicious. Oh, that's just a ferret, but man. What an interesting little animal. And it's good to know that they didn't shoot the thing, because the end result, the last resort, is that if you couldn't get the thing out, they'd probably just end up shooting it. But it's always good to know that the Ukrainians go out of their way to try and save the wild animals of Ukraine instead of just killing them if they ever come into contact with them. And they let that thing go. And they even allowed it to use army property like this bulletproof vest to get out of that trench. That is very, very kind of them, because here in the United States, any sergeant major or any smart first sergeant would have gotten this guy on an Article 5. And I bet many veterans could probably attest to that. I'm just kidding. But anyways, with that, we're going to be moving on from that fun little clip. And we can see that the Ukrainians successfully were able to retake that trench. And hopefully by retaking that trench, they'll be able to win the Great Polecat War. And speaking of polecats, Matthew has a poll up right now. But anyways, we're going to be moving on from that into our next bit of news, where we can see that a Ukrainian S-300 operator has been showing off their great deeds on the side of the S-300. These are all of the aircraft, we'll just call them aircraft for the large part, that the Ukrainians have been able to shoot down with their S-300. We can actually see that they've got an extensive amount of calibers that they've been able to shoot down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. This S-300 alone has shot down 22 caliber missiles. It has also shot down what appears to maybe be an Su-27 or an Su-34. It's also shot down 6 Su-25s. It shot down around 9 Ka-52s, around 3 Orlan 10s, let's see here, 7, 8, 9 Shahed 136s, and then 3 Lancet drones. Quite a little score for just a single S-300, and you can see that right here, while the face of this Ukrainian soldier is covered, you can tell by his pose that they are incredibly proud of how successful this S-300's interception rate has been, and the kill count that it's been able to rack up over the course of this war. And it certainly is one for the records right there, one for the books for sure. And so, great to see. Had to show that off and give this S-300 crew the credit they deserve. And with that, we're moving on into our next clip, where we can see a Ukrainian sniper on the hunt for Russian soldiers. We hear them playing the horror music as the Ukrainian starts firing pot shots at the running Russians. We can see him firing in the general direction, and it appears that that guy has decided to get down, but not because it was by his own will. We can see that the sniper is keeping them low. He'll most likely be keeping them low permanently. You can see the sniper looking over the field. It appears that none of them are getting back up, probably because they learned their lesson. You know what they say, Matthew? Shoot 1 bullet through me, shame on you. Shoot 2 bullets through me, I'm down on the floor.
Who said that?
Nobody. I just came up with it. I made it up. Source? I made it up. But we can see the sniper is still looking around. It appears that everyone's decided that it's time to take a nap. And I think they took a nap at just the right time. Imagine if they had taken a nap, you know, before this guy started shooting, this guy may have not been able to help them take their nap. This guy gave them sleeping pills from a very long distance. With that, we're going to be moving on from this little clip of Location Unknown News and on into our next one, where we saw one of those famous Ukrainian truck MLRSs. This one appears to be based off of a Toyota, a modern Toyota, unlike the old Hiluxes, but it's still doing the same job as the old Hilux. I gotta tell you,
Very nice.
Very nice. Very nice. And also, it looks like they love this little MLS. You can see the way the guy's like clicking the thing over there. See how he's like kind of like bouncing his hand as he's clicking it? It's like they're having a good bit of fun with this. They're like, shoot off some more. Bop, bop, bop. But still, hopefully it's accurate. We don't know how accurate these truck MLRSs are, but they are providing artillery support and mass saturation artillery support in parts of the front line where the Ukrainians don't have enough proper MLRSs like the Grads. And so it's great to see that the Ukrainians are always producing more of these, and hopefully they're providing great fire support for the infantry. With that, we're going to be moving on from that little bit of Location Unknown News, and on to our next one, where I saw the craziest thing. The BMPs, at least the BMP-2s, use something called the 2A42 30mm. Wait a minute, 2A42 30mm main gun, or otherwise known as a Shupanov 2A42. This one is actually mounted onto the bottom of an Mi-28. This picture was taken around 2009. This is on the bottom of a helicopter, but this is the only place you can find that 30mm gun. You can find it on BMP-2s. You can also find it on KA-52s as well. The KA-52, oddly enough, does not have a turret for their 30mm gun. It actually has a little recess on the side of the fuselage. I'll try and show it to y'all here. This is actually, wait a minute, hang on, let me go find a better one. Here we go. Here's a good picture of a KA-52, which is the helicopter that the Russians worship for the large part. Let me try and get a better, higher resolution picture, because that one's not high enough resolution. Come on. Load. Load. Okay, what about another one? Here we go. So this little recess over here on this side of the fuselage, where it appears that it just kind of goes inwards, right there in the little shadow is actually a 30mm 2A42 autocannon. This thing has been used all over the place on all sorts of former Soviet vehicles and even modern vehicles that the Russian Federation uses. One, because it's very cheap to put this gun onto other stuff. It doesn't really require them to have to produce a new one. So they can take the 30mm guns that would have been put on a BMP-2, and then they can just mount it onto a turret on a KA-52 or under an Mi-28, like in this picture here, same 30mm gun that's on a BMP-2, and they're good to go. But one thing we have never seen over the course of this war is this massive behemoth of a 30mm gun being converted into an infantry machine gun. until today. We got a clip today showing us that somewhere in Ukraine, and we don't really know whose side this was, and you can see, let's see, unknown date / side. We don't really know if this was the Ukrainians or the Russians, but some insane group of people took one of these guns that would be put onto a helicopter or an armored personnel carrier and turned it into an infantry gun. Here's the clip of them using it. We can see that they have a brace big enough that this guy could actually skydive with this thing, most likely. We can see them setting up the 30mm shells and getting ready to fire it. And we can now see him firing it. Keep in mind, this thing is normally mounted onto helicopters and light tanks, for the large part. And this guy is firing it like a machine gun. You can see him continuing to fire it. This is insane. And that's
he's saying, my ears, my eyes.
Actually, he was saying, well, like if you want to know what he was really saying, he would fire a burst and you go, you hit it, and then he would fire another burst and he'd say, keep going, and that's hagoim. You know, it's fire, so pretty much meaning keep going. But you know what? I gotta ask this question: what is the Ukrainian word for fire? Let's see. For fire, what is the Russian word for fire? Because that might clear up who this was. Russian word for fire. Hagoin. It's not hagoin. Wait, hang on. Ukrainian command to fire. Because I have a feeling it's also hagoim. But I can't find anything on that right now at the moment. So unfortunately, we still don't really know whose side it was, because there's no clear armbands on these guys. And we'll go back to the beginning of the clip to check that out and make sure. Looking at him. I can't tell whose side this is, even now. I'm trying my best to try and figure out who these guys are. They could be Ukrainians or Russians, we're not exactly sure, but John Underwood said Vohoin is Ukrainian, and a lot of people are saying they were speaking Russian. Some people are saying they're Russians. There are Ukrainians that speak Russian. That's the problem, though. There are a decent amount of Russian-speaking Ukrainians. So it really could be anybody. This could be Russians or Ukrainians still. It's still up in the air as to who these people really are. But it is amazing to see that these guys were laying down fire with a 30mm gun. Regardless of whose side it is, I have to give them a lot of, I guess you could say, points for creativity here to take what would be a gun on an APC or a helicopter and convert it into an infantry gun. That's wild. And so with that, we're going to be moving on from that little clip of Location Unknown News and on into our last one, where we saw the Russian casualty report for the day. And this day...
2 Bobcats. Hey!
Hey! What a day! What a day. 2, Matthew. 1 for each of us for our graduation. We thank the Ukrainian Armed Forces for the Bobcat tribute. We are very appreciative. And we can, of course, see the memes from, example, Boston, Brian, and also, let's see, Jessica, hey, and then Dark Will, hey, nice, Edward,
nice,
and loads others most likely. Yep, JD Macco, Melissa Smith, we got them all. Oh, whoa, hey, they're doing a lot in Dubai, if you know what I mean. But anyways, great to see that everyone is always happy to see the Bobcat skid steer losses. And also, we saw that 580 Russian soldiers were whacked over the past 24 hours, which is a pretty good number. We only saw that 3 armored personnel carriers were destroyed over the past 24 hours, however, which is somewhat low. We also saw that 17 supply trucks were destroyed over the past 24 hours, which is actually well above average, and quite a good number as far as the losses are concerned. We saw that 3 main battle tanks were destroyed, which is about 1 or 2 tanks below the war's average per day. We also saw that 3 artillery pieces were destroyed, 4 drones, 21 cruise missiles were intercepted in the last missile attack, and 1 anti-aircraft warfare system was also destroyed. All in all, not that bad of a day. Some of the numbers are a little low, but then that was made up for in other categories. And so with that, we're going to be moving on from the casualty report, once again showing that the Ukrainians are doing their damnedest to make sure that the Russians are not able to gain an inch unless if they lose an entire battalion tactical group worth of forces. And so with that, we're now moving on from the Kyiv Independent and on into the frontline news itself. And it has been a day on the front line. It's been so bad that a Russian HQ has been completely obliterated for an entire brigade, meaning that that brigade may be without superior command or even orders coming down to that brigade for the moment. It may be absolute confusion. And even Prigozhin is threatening the Wagner unit will mutiny and withdraw itself from the front lines in Bakhmut, meaning that the battle may be lost right on the cusp of victory. But before we get to all of that news, and it's massive news that's been going on around the area of Bakhmut today, we have to address the polls. And so with that, what do we got, Matthew?
All right, and we have 2 polls to address, and the very first one says, Prigozhin has threatened to pull his forces out of Bakhmut if not given Russian munitions. And what are your thoughts? It looks like 37% said Prigozhin is playing deadly, 8% said unsure, 25% said I can't blame him, and 31% said he will probably get the munitions. And I'm with the 37%. I think Prigozhin is continuing to play deadly because Putin, of course, wants to take him out. He's made that very clear at this point. By not giving him munitions up to this point, he's trying to starve Wagner of resources, so that no longer is a political threat to his power. Because right now, Prigozhin is expressing some very concerning signs that he might want to take power in Russia if Putin were to collapse or fall. And Putin obviously is not going to take kindly to that. So I doubt he'll get the munitions, but Enforcer, what say you?
I would have to say I doubt he will get the munitions because we know that that Prigozhin has been going around bribing quartermasters behind the lines to divert ammunition from places like Avdiivka to the Wagner unit. But it appears even then they're still not getting enough ammunition, and the Russian army is not openly giving them ammunition. They have to bribe the quartermasters to try and get any. And so it may be the case that he's playing it dangerous and deadly. I think he really is playing it dangerous and deadly. And I gotta say, it's not a question anymore of does a PMC pose a threat to the Russian government. PMCs do pose a threat to the Russian government. That's why we see that Gazprom, now that the political situation is getting even more tense behind the scenes in Russia, we're starting to see that oligarchs are creating their own PMCs for their own companies, like the Gazprom PMC that is now also in the Bakhmut area as well, although they are not doing as well as the Wagner by any means whatsoever, and the Wagner isn't doing that well either. But the guys in Gazprom, they literally get up and they just run off the lines, so they're not doing well at all. But I would certainly say Putin is trying to kill them off so that way they don't become a threat to his power, and probably set an example to other oligarchs that are trying to set up their own PMCs like the Gazprom PMC, that if they do the same, they will also get the same treatment and their PMCs will wither up and die and they'll be largely powerless against Putin and his cronies. Well, those are his cronies, but Putin and his goons. So with that, I hope that does address that poll fairly well, and we are on to the next one.
And the next poll says, President Zelensky has implied that F-16s aren't crucial to the counteroffensive, and what are your thoughts? 75% said he's right, it's not crucial but needed, 7% said unsure, 8% said I somewhat disagree, and 10% said he's wrong, and they are crucial to Ukraine. And for me personally, I don't think F-16s are crucial personally. I think they would help, ensure a decisive victory in Ukraine's favor, but I don't think it's needed to necessarily win the war. But it certainly is going to prolong it by not sending it. So I think we should go ahead and send them. But Enforcer, what say you?
I would honestly have to say it's not going to change the outcome of the offensive. We've seen the Ukrainians do amazing, even with very little Western support. Back in the opening 2 months of the war, during the Balaklia offensive and the Kherson counteroffensive. And while each time the Ukrainians conducted an offensive, they were getting more and more Western support as the war went on, they didn't have a massive amount of Western support during what I would say was their most successful wide open counteroffensive, which was in the Balaklia area. Most of those units were using Soviet vintage technology and Soviet vintage equipment, and they still did good. And so I think it is no question whatsoever the Ukrainians can do swimmingly as long as they have the right kind of stuff on the ground. They don't really need the air power, but the air power would certainly help to give them a massive edge over the Russians. Hell, it would probably make it a sweep if they conducted a counteroffensive with F-16s, but they don't necessarily need it because they'll already do exceptional without it. So I would certainly have to agree with Zelensky that while it would be great to have them, they don't need them to do well. So with that, I hope that addresses that poll, and we are on to the next one.
All right, and that is our last poll for the moment, but many more are coming up soon, so we're moving into our Super Chat questions. And up first, we have an extremely generous $200 Super Chat from none other than BC Skyman, the channel
Holy
legend.
moly.
And he says, congratulations to both of you, and okay, guys must divide. And thank you so much, BC.
And thank you so much for the support, BC Skyman, and helping this channel to keep on running, and the massive support. I thank you for it. I'm guessing that a lot of people are sending in graduation presents through the live chat tonight, and I thank you so much for that. It has been one hell of a trip. Matthew can tell you, going through college for 3 straight years without a single break. We never took a break in the summers. Well, actually, no, Mandy, I think you did take a break in the summer because when we transferred universities, you kind of had to like only take one class or no classes and just wait for something to happen.
Yeah, I had to get rid of my in-person classes in Montgomery before
Yeah.
moving up here to Birmingham.
Yeah, so I don't think you had any classes one semester, and that's how you and me graduated at the same time, is because that allowed me to catch up because I had full credits that semester. But regardless, rather than that, which was a thing that he just had to do, neither of us have taken a break from college. We've been going all out ever since we started. I started off in the summer of 2020 going to college, and now in the spring of 2023, I graduated. It's crazy to think that we did, because for so long, especially during this stream, it's always been a constant concern of mine in the background that college had to keep on going. We had to keep the thing rolling. I had to make sure that the grades were good, and they were good enough. I can't believe it, but somehow doing this 60 hours a week, and then college another 40 hours a week or so, I ended up graduating as magna cum laude, which is around a 3.7, 3.8 GPA. I think mine was exactly 3.76 or so. So I was blown away that I was able to get that honor when getting the diploma. But we didn't get the diploma. We just shook people's hands and walked across the stage. But still, thank you so much once again for the support, BC Skyman, and helping this channel to keep on running. And thank you for always being with us and being an old guard of this channel every single day. I can't really think of many days, BC Skyman, unless if they're hunting trips, that you are not here. And I hope you've been having fun on those hunting trips, by the way. And also, we still love that car collection. And thank you once again for being an old guard of this Lee Spring Army. And so with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again.
And also, I saw some folks asking on Twitter when we're going to post our graduation photos. And we're actually going to wait 1 or 2 days until our actual real photos come in, because we really didn't get any good ones ourselves. We're not really selfie type people, so they didn't turn out very good. And I don't want to share those, to be totally honest.
And to be honest,
but
with
it's
y'all,
coming soon.
And to be honest with y'all, with how our hair is cut, it is very, very thin on the sides. And when we were wearing that cap, it actually made us kind of look like we were bald. And so we didn't like any of the pictures. So you're like, oh, that looks terrible. So yeah, we didn't make any good selfies today at all. So we'll be waiting for the graduation pictures to come out and then show them. And by the way, now that we've graduated, we went to UAB. So if any of y'all are wondering, which college were we going
Blazers.
to? Yeah, we were at UAB. So if we have anyone who's watching the stream that either works at UAB or knows about UAB or lives in the area and just happens to pass through UAB, go Blazers. Also, there's BSC. I forgot where that is, but they went bankrupt. Boo-hoo. They're on some other part of the city, but they went bankrupt. And so we didn't go to that one. We went to UAB. And also, I saw another good question. I believe it was Heather Fitzgibbon that asked, who in the hell, or it may have been, let's see, I think it was Heather Fitzgibbon. She said, who in the hell has a graduation at the break of dawn? UAB does, but they had graduations all day long today. I actually had a friend that I did not see there, and I was texting him while I was there, and I was like, dude, where are you? And he was like, I'm not in that group. I'm in another school, and I'm graduating at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we were just a part of the first graduation ceremony for that day. They had graduation ceremonies going on throughout the entire day today for every single school that was graduating that semester. So yeah, that's why ours was at a break at dawn, because the College of Arts and Sciences was the first one to graduate, which kind of sucked for us because, you know, we got done running the stream and I went to bed at like 1 or 2 and then woke up at 5. But anyways, with that, I hope that does address that fairly well. Thank you so much once again for the support. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and our next one goes to Jesus UCSB, who also throws in a massive $200 donation. And thank you so much, Jesus, for
Holy
the support.
moly.
He says, first, I want to congratulate both of you on your graduation, and I still remember when I graduated from UC Santa Barbara, and my father cried for the first time. Thank you both, and to the LSA Army, we will win this war. Jesus, UCSB loves you. Oh, and check that P.O. box.
Hey! And Matthew, I gotta tell you this, you sent Matthew over the moon today. Like Matthew and me were kind of tearing up over Sheba getting bit. And then he said, oh, by the way, the tank model's on the way. And Matthew went, oh, he's like, wait a minute, what? Really?
Let me tell you something, Jesus. Those type of models are like the things I go crazy about. So when I saw that Abrams model that you're thinking about sending us, I was over the moon about that. So thank you so much. That is very kind of you to send that.
And I've got to thank you so much as well. I know Matthew is going to steal that and put it in his room because Matthew is a sucker for models. Matthew loves models of every kind. And can you tell us, Matthew, what model is it?
It was a model of a Abrams tank, and it's like on a diorama base. I don't know who makes it, but it looked like one of those really nice, super detailed ones that I look at occasionally on the internet, but I never buy.
Let's see. So, oh, wow, that is a cool one right there. I think that's most likely a Tamiya kit, and they just really souped it up. But let's see here. Man, these all are custom made by modelers. Man, I used to make models. I have huge respect for people who do. It takes such a steady hand, and my hands are always so shaky. I could never really do it. But they are so cool. Like this one. Like this is.
Oh yeah. It's actually better than that. It's like the desert, like for the diorama part of it.
No way. Really? Is it like this one?
Yeah, it's more like that, but it's even more detailed than that.
No. I'm looking forward to this thing. I'm gonna have to see it when it gets here for sure. Well, I see everything when it gets here, but I'm gonna definitely have to see this one for sure. Like triple, double, definitely see it. But man, Matthew's a sucker for models, so I know I'll see it for like 5 minutes, and then it'll be in his office forever. But still, thank you so much once again for congratulating us on graduating. I was so tired this morning. I couldn't really get excited for it because, you know, we only had 3 hours of sleep, and so we're like zombies. But it was pretty neat. Rather than the part where we had to scan a QR code, and the thing they scanned the QR code with went beep every single time it scanned it. So it was like going to a grocery store nearly, like when you were about to go up there and shake people's hands. Rather than that, it was a cool ceremony. They actually have bagpipers there as well. And that was really cool because I played bagpipes, and so I was like, oh, neat. I remember doing that. And they were really good, too. I didn't even know there were that many bagpipers in Alabama at all. And yet there was like a whole band of like 4 or 5 of them. And they even had drummers, which was really cool. But yes, it was a huge deal. Of course, our parents were more than ecstatic, more than proud that we had ended up graduating. And oddly enough, we actually expected that a lot more people would have graduated cum laude at all. And it turned out that like, I think it was like a third of the class was cum laude, and then an even smaller amount was summa cum laude. And I found out after the graduation that you have to have a GPA of 4.0 to be a summa cum laude. So I was like, dang. I mean, we would have never been able to do that, but we did make magna cum laude, which was really cool. But still, thank you so much once again for support, Jesus UCSB, and congratulating us on what is certainly a big day for us. And of course, long live the Lee Spring Army. And now, college is out of the way. Law school's next. It's coming up in the fall. But for the next 3 months or so, we are going to be completely free to make videos, live shows, and everything else, because this is really the only thing we'll have to be doing. Well, the only thing we want to be doing, really, over the next 3 months. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that fairly well. And with that, we are on to the final question of this segment, and then we're moving on into the front lines.
All right, and the final one of the segment goes to Sample 1940, who puts in a very generous $100 donation. And thank you so much, Sample, for the support. And they say for drones, bobcats, or whatever else graduates need. And congratulations.
And
thank you.
And thank you so much, Simple 1940. Is that a reference to the Bob Simple tank?
I think it's Sample.
Sample? But it says simple.
I
It
think
says
it is.
SEMPLE 1940.
Let me scroll back over to it. Let's see. Oh, it is Sample.
It is
Okay,
simple.
yeah,
Yeah,
Sample.
it's Junior Samples called BR549, but the Bob the Bob Simple tank. See, it smelled like this. I'm thinking it might be a reference to the Bob Simple tank from 1940-ish. This thing's ugly. They're terrible. This is a real simple tank right there. It's based off of a tractor, like a farming tractor. But anyways, I thank you so much for the support to the drones, the bobcats, and whatever graduates need. You know what we need? We need liquor. I'm just kidding. We don't drink, actually.
Oh.
We don't drink at all. I'm kidding about that completely. But still, thank you so much for the support, Simple 1940, and giving us a graduation present today. I feel like everyone's giving us a graduation present in the live chat tonight, but thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel keep on running, because folks like y'all are what keep this channel running in the background and what has been able to help us to be so busy for an entire 430 days on top of college and doing this as well, so that way now I can actually sit here today and finally say I am a quote-unquote expert on the subject, because I'm on the subject of history, because I have a bachelor's in history. So, you know, for the first time ever, I actually have on this day, the first day ever, real credentials backing up what I say. Which is kind of crazy now, because now I'm sure I'll be winning internet arguments all over the place. I'll be like, Mandy, I'll be coming in and I'll be like those political commentators, you know, destroying the goofballs with facts and logic. Oh, I'm gonna be, you're wrong because the history says this. Thanks. Anyways.
Although he went to law school, that's how he got around to, you know, doing all that stuff.
Well, I have to tell you, I gotta be honest, not being political or anything, but the way he talks is kind of annoying, because it's just so fast, and it's always trying to get a one-up on people. Thanks. I don't know, man. But anyways,
Can you imagine how he would have been in a courtroom? Like how like annoyed the judge would have gotten talking like that all the time.
Your Honor, I would like to put this into evidence. What did you say? I would just like it in evidence. It's fairly easy to do. No. Say it slower. You're talking like you're on speed. You're like drugged out or something, man. But anyways, thank you so much once again for the support, Simple 1940. I hope that does address that fairly well. And with that, it's now time for us to move on into the frontline news and out of this question segment. And so we're moving on into the Northeast and into the front lines here. Now, really quickly, I do have to say that the last time Deep State UA was updated, at least before, it was finally updated. I don't know what it is. They always refresh this thing right when I'm alive, so I never get to see the frontline map anymore before I'm live. I have to wait until we're live to look at it. So sorry about that, everyone. That's something, unfortunately, I can't really control. Deep State UA has their own theory and their own reasons why they update it now, but sadly, that doesn't give me an opportunity to look at it before we go live. Now, going over from the 27th to the 29th, we can see that there were no visible frontline changes in the Northeast whatsoever. But in the area of Khomivka, we saw that some Russian soldiers were briefly interrupted by the sounds of artillery, and more so the artillery landing on them. We see them hanging out, just doing their thing. And this video appears to actually be old, maybe by a few months or so. You see the guy just still crouching there in the forest with the snow. Still talking. This guy's on the ground. And I don't think they did well. I don't think that was okay. So
just edited like a meme segment or something.
Yeah, why in the world did they cut it out? It's like the perfectly cut scream, you know, like memes. Yeah, that was literally cut like a meme. I don't know what was up with that, but we can see that these guys did get hit by the artillery. And while this may be several months old, I would assume, considering that there's snowfall in the ground, it is still worth noting that some Russian forces did run into a bit of bad luck up there in the Northeast. We're now going to be moving on down into the area of Zhizlivka, where we saw that the 100th Territorial Brigade was able to hit and destroy some Russian forces in that area today. Oh, what? Man, this is what Ramzan Kadyrov listens to when he goes, "I want my Bakhmut pimped out. Bakhmut is power." And he goes driving through
Oh
the
my
streets
God,
of
man.
Grozny with that playing. I don't even know if that's copyrighted. I feel like it may be copyrighted, but it's so funny to me. I kind of want to play it. You know what?
That can't be copyrighted. Who copyrights garbage like that?
Yeah, we graduated today. I'm taking the risk. If this is copyrighted, we're just going to let ads run on this thing afterwards. We don't, of course, we won't have a say in that. The copyright holder will. But anyways, we're going to play this thing because this is hilarious to me. Pass me the blunt, Donna. We're getting turned up in here, Donna. Though we can see the Russian position burning after the strike. And we can see the car burning as the beat hits harder than Kadyrov beats his harem. And the vehicle continues to burn. Man, this is a beat. But I can tell you this, Matthew, while this may be an absolute bop, sadly, this is not getting the Golpniks out of the Khrushchevkas, Bliet.
No.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to cut that off now because while it may be copyrighted or not, I can only handle that beat playing so many times until it's just like, ugh. But anyways,
It's like whoever made that beat like just learned how to loop a track, and they looped it over and over and over.
Man, that was rough. But anyways, we can see the vehicle continuing to burn down there. The 100 Brigade showing that it's burning out the entire position, as a matter of fact. And with that, that's the end of the clip. But absolutely impressive to see that this thing burned to the ground. Not bad at all. Not bad. And so we're moving on from that little bit of news. And of course, great to see the 100 Territorial Brigade was able to take care of business there. We're now going to be moving down into the area behind the lines of Bakhmut, in the general area near Vrubivka. We don't know exactly where this headquarters was, but a headquarters of a unit that is operating in the area of Bakhmut, the 58th Brigade, was hit today, and it appears that the entire headquarters was completely destroyed. And it was destroyed by none other than la 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 la.
Ah, boss.
I don't know how the rest of the song goes, but anyways, here's the clip of the headquarters being completely destroyed. You can see that the roof has been blown away.
А ты цел? Еб...
And this building has truly been blown away.
Да ну на... Я, где сижу-то?
That's the end of that clip. But I gotta say, man, oh man, I'm telling you, they get no respect around here. I set up a headquarters. Oh man, I'm telling you, the only thing that was rolling around here with the heads in the quarters. Oh man, I'm telling you, it was terrible. The HIMARS shrapnel just ripped their heads clean off. Oh man, I'm telling you, it was rough. Real rough. Oh man. And they didn't get any better looking either. Oh no. Oh, they were bad. Real bad. But anyways, we can see another clip of the 58th Brigade's headquarters being hit.
Просто бьет бетон, сейчас они по идее... Да,
You see them moving around here as dust fills the air of the headquarters.
полкруг.
And we can see a hole right there in the
Почему
floor.
мою комнату? Почему
good
мою
sign.
комнату? Мою, блядь. Прям в моих руках. Слушай, у меня тут 2 гранаты лежало на столе. Мне кажется, это они...
How the hell can they even see anything in here? It's dark and there's smoke everywhere.
Ты думаешь? Это не осколки. А, ну их можно найти потом, если что. Это камни. Главное, моя женщина цела.
We can see them wiping off a calendar? Oh, Bliet, we just got their asses beat. They were literally vaporized. Let me check on the calendar and make sure it wasn't singed.
Главное, моя женщина.
Oh, man. What the hell is on this calendar? What is this?
I can't even make out what that is. It looks like something suggestive. I really can't tell.
You know what it looks like? It looks like concrete. I mean, like, it looks like weirdly shaped concrete that's like a picture of on this calendar. I don't know what this is.
Главное.
We hear the guy laughing and also choking on the air
Поехали.
as he shows off the rest of the HQ with the smoke still floating around. I'd also like to remind everyone that whenever you see these smoke particulates or dust particulates in the air inside of a building in Ukraine, the Ukrainians never had building laws that forbade the use of asbestos even in modern buildings, and so a lot of this dust has asbestos in it, and that means that these guys will most likely be getting some kind of cancer or mesothelioma here in the future from the asbestos fibers. So with that, I guess you could say that the Ukrainians got indirect kill count, and it's great to see that they also were able to wipe out an entire brigade's headquarters today. Moving on closer to
Call
the
now for your free book.
Oh, call now for your.
Caught
You
you
threw
off
me.
guard.
Yeah, you threw me off. You completely threw me off. But anyways, we're moving on to Vamivka, where we saw some nighttime drone drops, and they're not dropping droplings. I'm telling you, they're dropping bombs. When you see the Russians wandering across the field, when you see them dropping 2 bomblets, I'll have 2 bomblets and 2 more bomblets. And it appears that the 2 more bomblets landed right on top of them. And so with that, that's the end of the clip. And very nice to see that the Ukrainians are still getting Russians in the Vamivka area. We're now moving on down into Bakhmut. And over the past 24 hours, and let me make sure we're getting the news of the front lines correct, the Russians have been able to move forward. It appears that they were able to move forward through the built-up areas here near the T-0504, just outside of the railway station, and they're now moving on to what would be the final Ukrainian defenses in the town. I'm going to be quite honest with y'all, these will be the last defensive lines we see the Ukrainians take up within the city of Bakhmut. There is just not a lot more left of Bakhmut for them to really hold, and so we will see that the Ukrainians will begin to be pushed out of Bakhmut and onto the fields in between Chasiv Yar and Ivanivsky. And by that time, I would assume, and I'm taking a guess here, of course, not trying to crystal ball too much, but by the time that the Russians push the Ukrainians into the Ivanivsky area, we're most likely going to see that these units take a quote-unquote rest period. We saw this during the Battle of Severodonetsk and Lysychansk because the units in Severodonetsk and Lysychansk, much like the Russian units in Bakhmut, continued pushing even after the point of exhaustion until they took the city. Those units were almost on the brink of collapse and therefore required a resting period to be able to regroup themselves, resupply themselves, and then even be ready to disengage from the front lines and move into the reserve. That's what we're going to be seeing in Bakhmut as well, most likely, due to the intensity and the massive casualties taken during this battle, is that the front lines will most likely stop somewhere here, near the Ivanivsky area. This means that once the front line stops there, I would put money on it that an offensive, a Ukrainian offensive, if it had not already happened by that point, would be happening within weeks' time, or maybe even days' time. So with that, we're now going to be moving on into the footage in the Blahodatne area, where we saw some Russians being hit with a 120mm mortar, and it was unequivocally juice. Here's the clip. And we see the mortar land, and it appears that these Russian soldiers just could not care. But as we can see them backing up the footage, when you see the round hit, poof. And the Russians are just so tired of it all that they just keep going. They literally could not care less. And I think that will be to their detriment here in the future. But with that, we're going to be moving on from that little clip in the area of Soledar and Blahodatne, and on down into the area of the western ridgeline near Yehidne, where we saw that the Ukrainians were also hitting Russian positions, courtesy of the 28th Brigade's firepower. Here's the clip. We're going to be muting that. But when you see the Ukrainians here, moving forward, when you see a Russian coming out of his burrow, uh-oh, I said burrow,
The Ukrainians continue to advance forward through the open fields towards the Russian burrows. The Russians are an invasive species and burrow into the ground for protection. However, the Ukrainians, a very industrious kind of creature, make sure to clear out the infestations and reclaim the territory. We can see the Ukrainian soldiers using a special kind of trait only attributed to a small number of their kind. The incendiary. The incendiary is an attachment that is created as a tool by the Ukrainians to try and clear out emplacements and bunkers. We can see that the Ukrainians use these to great effect in this area.
It's like a blast furnace.
it is quite similar to a blast furnace. We can now
Or a
see
landfill.
or a landfill. We can now see the Ukrainians throwing grenades at the Russians and making sure to continue to clear out their burrows. Russian forces are always overwhelmed when it comes to the burrows, being poorly defended and not really protecting the entrance. The burrows are quickly emptied out by the Ukrainian firepower. We can actually see right here that one of them was quote-unquote folded by Ukrainian firepower as the Russian came running over the berm. As we can see right here, both of them came running at each other, and it appears that the Russian got the short end of the stick. We can now see the Ukrainians continuing to bombard the Russian dugouts as they try and evacuate their queen, otherwise known as the commander. The commander is a very rare creature, one that is very rarely seen near the front lines, and is most likely not seen here. We can now see the Ukrainians continuing to empty out the remaining dugouts in the field as the colony of Russians appears to be entering the brink of collapse. We can now see Russian forces running off as they try and cover their own as they evacuate more wounded. We can see here that at the end of the Ukrainians wiping out the Russian colony, 40 Russian soldiers had ended up losing their lives. A very deadly engagement for Russian forces, and most likely one that this tribe will not recover from, leaving them to leave the fields and allow them to be reclaimed by the original species that once dwelled over these fields, the Ukrainian infantry. With that, we're going to be moving on from this clip
and on into the city of Bakhmut itself, where we saw that the Wagner is threatening to mutiny. That's right. We put it on our news today, and Brigade threatens to pull Wagner out of Bakhmut if not given munitions. Straight up threatening all-out mutiny. Or even revolt, more so. And we can see here that it appears that not only are they lacking ammunition, Matthew, but they may be lacking lotion, as Nutsack is appearing quite dry. And
I feel like that's how we look today in that cap.
Oh,
I
yeah.
felt like it looked this ugly.
Oh man, we probably did. But yeah, he's threatening mutiny because they're not getting ammunition, and also he's not getting lotion either. So you can see that they are in very bad straits, about as bad as they get. And so with that, we're going to be moving on from that little bit of news and on into the frontline videos inside of the city, where we saw the Ukrainians hitting some high-rises that Russian forces have moved into with the artillery.
Ебать, красота.
Yeah, what a beauty.
Пизда, ебать.
When you see the artillery hitting the high-rise dead on. I think the sniper was amped up for show. But there was no sniper there anymore. F, it's tough. Effing awesome.
Я хуею, сука.
Suka. He's probably thinking now, why the F I shot from there? I think. And then the video ends. Sadly, we didn't get to hear what the other guy thought about the whole thing, but I would have to say what I think is that the last thing that sniper thought was, oh man, my brains are all across this building. But anyways, that's the end of the clip, and it's great to see that the Ukrainians called in artillery to take care of a sniper. Apparently that sniper was causing such an issue that they called in artillery on him, and I think he won't be an issue much more. We're now going to be moving on from that clip and on into our next one in the city, where we saw that the battle for the city continues, and we got a Ukrainian perspective on that firefight today. This was actually conducted by the Ukrainian SSO. Here's the clip. Whoa. Have you ever wanted to find yourself near the battlefields of Ukraine, absolutely slapping nutsacks boys around like a nutsack? Let me tell you, you found yourself in luck. Introducing the all-new Ukrainian 8th Brigade, one of Ukraine's best fighting units, brand new and introduced to the Bakhmut area. Watch them climb through a window. Watch them take out Russians to an unbelievable degree. This is the next era of warfare. This is the 8th Brigade. Guts. Glory. Brigade. I hope that was a good one. But we can see them continuing to fire their AT weapons. See them firing a rifle out of a window, setting up a machine gun. That guy pulling down the table so that way the machine gun can fire. And it appears to be an M240. Delicious. We can see them reloading it. Continuing to lay down fire out the window. And moving through the city. Of course, giving the Russians a real run for their money. With that, that's the end of the clip. And I'd also like to give credit to the SFW Combat Footage channel that was able to upload this clip. Make sure to go over there and take a look at them, because apparently they're finding some interesting clips from these brigades. We're moving on into our next clip, where we also saw the fighting continuing in the city of Bakhmut. Once again, from another Ukrainian position. This time it appears that they're using an AGS in this one. We can see that the AGS gunner is set up on the, I guess you could say, the bed frame, as they aim the AGS out of the window through some curtains. They're now firing the AGS.
Маскировка твоя упала.
I bet the person that lived here never thought their bed would be used as a firing spot.
Probably not. Probably not. I gotta agree with you there. Man, right now the Ukrainians who used to live in this building are sitting there going, "Man, it used to get rowdy in the bedroom, but it never got explosive." Ooh.
Oh, jeez.
Seems like a mortar fire was just landed right out there in the street. But that's the end of the
He said,
clip.
nope. He started walking away.
Dude, he was like, nah. He was like, we're good. But that's the end of that clip. And pretty wild to see that artillery fire just landed right outside. And very interesting to see a little glimpse at the continued fighting in the city. We're now going to be moving on down towards the southern area near Klishkivka, where we saw that the Wagner has been collecting some of their casualties. This film was taken by the 92nd Brigade, as we saw plastic bags that were large enough to fit people in them in the fields. And this is once again a very small glimpse at a part of the Bakhmut battlefield, showing how badly the Wagner unit has been hit and how many casualties they've been taking. So many that even while they're trying to recover some of their slain, they have to leave them in the fields because there's really just not an effective way to get all of the folks out. I have to make sure to watch my words here because YouTube's always very sensitive about how we word things. But that's a quick little look at a very tiny, minuscule portion of how badly it's been going for the Wagner. We're now going to be moving on from that clip and into our next one, somewhere near the highway perimeter, where we saw the Russians get hit inside of their dugout. Oh, that's a good song. Sing, Sing, Sing is a song from like the 30s. That's that song right there. Sadly, it's always copyrighted, so we can't play it. But when you see the bomblet hit dead onto a Russian position, of course causing a good bit of damage. You now see the Russians trying to climb out as they drop an F1 grenade, and it appears that the man is running without pants. And also toilet paper on his shoes. Both of them, as a matter of fact. Actually, this man was in the middle of taking a crap.
Whoa.
Man! Dude, call this a
What am I looking at?
Call this a full moon because it's bright out. Goodness. He's going to have to answer some questions when he returns to his unit, like, why is there toilet paper on both of your feet, and where did your pants go? And now he's falling into another hole in the trench. And that's the end of the clip.
He's kind of walking funny, too.
Yeah, it's kind of walking funny, but, you know, when you're around the Wagner or the Kadyriovites, it just kind of happens. Anyways, with that, we're going to be moving on from that little clip. Very interesting to see, and it looks like we actually had a little bit of a streak going on. Not a victory streak or anything, but just a straight-up streak. We're now going to be moving on into the area of Konstantinivka, where we saw a garage. And in the middle of this garage, they were playing some music as they go and modify some former Russian APCs. Here we can see an MTLB and a BTR-80 and some Ukrainian guys who are working round the clock to get these things back into Ukrainian service. We can see that they are in bad shape, however. The Russians never bring good conditioned vehicles to the front lines. They are incredibly rare, but we can see that they will be trying to get them back into running condition so that way they can be back out there on the front lines and used by the Ukrainian forces. So with that, Now, see in that clip, once again, fairly interesting to see, and it appears, Matthew, that the streaker has brought in a little bit of extra attention. If you've noticed, there has been a spike in viewership after the streaker. So, with that, we're going to be moving on from Konstantinivka in the garage. Apparently, we're bringing in the people who, they like to see it. They love to see a bare ass just out there in the wind, just running around. And you know what I say, you got to grab him by the buttocks. Just got to get in there and get a nice scrap. But anyways, we're moving on towards the Orlivka area, where we saw a Ukrainian drone hitting a Russian vehicle.
Tim Jefferson said, "Don't look, Ethel."
But it was too late. Oh, man. And now you see the FPV drone flying in. We can kind of see the vehicle. It is a supply truck. Oh, yeah, the driver. Yikes. I don't think he's getting out of there. And, you know, in the family will still have the audacity to ask the Russians, can we see him? No. No. That thing went right into the windshield. Nah, he's not good. And you can see it right there again. Ooh. Oh, блядь. It's all right into the windshield. What the hell is this? Wait a minute, it's a meme.
Ця картина випромінює дивний спокій і трохи жорстокість.
Okay,
Man,
I don't know
I knew what it meant.
I wish I knew what that meme was. They literally made a meme out of that, but I couldn't see it. So anyways, with that, well, I couldn't understand it, actually. So with that, we're moving on from the area of Orlivka and down the front lines towards Avdiivka, where we saw that the Ukrainians were able to capture a Russian soldier today. You see the Russian with his hands up, coming out of the trench. Ukrainians, of course, making sure the trench is clear.
I like how they're showing war footage, but they're bleeping out the cuss words.
That's because, Matthew, we're classy people. Like we do. Like, we'll show war footage, but we won't cuss excessively, or really at all, for that matter, unless if it's a subtitle or anything, or if it's hell. We use the word hell a little bit. But anyways, with that, we're moving on to Avdiivka, where we saw the Ukrainians clearing some trenches in the area. And we're going to have to mute that, but you see the Ukrainians unloading from the BMP and moving towards the trench work as the BMP fires further down the way and into the trench. We can now see the Ukrainians getting ready to assault the trench. Climbing on in. We can see that they have the blue tape on their helmets, clearly showing that they are the Ukrainian forces. And we can see the BMP going all in as another one drops off its infantry as well into the trench to help support the push. We can see them clearing out their first dugout. And moving on to their next one. And we can see that they're making quick work of these trenches. We now see the BMPs rotating out, another one moving through the fields, and loading even more infantry into this trench. Once again, providing fire support as the infantry get positioned to move on in. It appears that the Ukrainians just got a lucky strike, literally, as a grenade landed on an ammunition cache, causing it to set itself on fire and burn up the ammo.
Oh, and also, I was just told by several people that the correspondence dinner apparently just ended, so that's why everybody's flooding in all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah, okay, now that makes sense. But oddly enough, correlation does not equal causation, because right when they started to come in, the streaker video was live. So it looked like they were coming in for the streaker. But anyways, that's the end of the clip, and very nice to see the Ukrainian forces are taking the initiative and conducting small offensives against Russian forces here in the area of Avdiivka, and of course making sure to inflict large casualties on them. We're now moving out of Avdiivka and on down into the direction of Volodar, where we also saw that a BMP-3 was destroyed by a kamikaze drone today. Here's the clip. You see the drone flying in. We can see the BMP-3 right there. Ooh, poof. A little bit of white smoke coming up. And now we'll wait and see if... Oh, yep, a fire is already starting. We can see a fire kind of emanating from around the turret ring. There is smoke coming off of the back of the vehicle as well. And that's the end of the clip. We couldn't tell if it was entirely taken out, but knowing the Russians, they'll most likely abandon the vehicle. And so the video repeats again. With that, we're going to be moving on from that clip and on towards the area of Zolota Niva, where we saw that a counter battery was in action. More so, artillery was conducting a counter battery mission. Here's the video. See them getting the M777 ready. And the round flies right overhead. And now they all start yelling because they know that they're coming under counter battery fire as well in the middle of their counter battery mission, and they're now going to get ready to pack up the M777 or to take cover and wait out the counter battery barrage, because that one was close, maybe about 300 yards, 200 yards off, which is very close in artillery figures, especially when they're blindly firing for counter battery. With that, we're going to be moving on from that little video and further on down the lines into the area of Belyaria, where we saw that the Russian soldier was having a fit. The video describes it as a PTSD attack. I don't really know what this is, but we'll watch the clip. Of course, they have the clown music playing over it. We'll mute that because it is copyrighted. But you see this Russian soldier here, I don't know if he's having a manic episode, or if he's just going crazy, or if he's having a PTSD fit, but this guy is running around throwing rocks at stuff. And
the conspiracy theorists will say this is Bigfoot.
Yes, probably.
Man, a real sighting of Bigfoot. Look at him go.
Man, look at him. See him throw something on the ground, then kind of run back a little bit, and then turn around and run back, and then throw something down, and then run back. I don't think this is PTSD. I think this man is seriously just... Wait a minute, he has a stick. I think he's trying to blow up a bomb.
That close? Oh, he's, what's he touching? Is that an animal?
I don't know.
What the hell? Huh.
Well, we're moving on. I don't know what to make of that. We're moving on from that clip. I don't know what the hell that was. But we're moving on down into the area of Kherson, where we saw a Russian in an inflatable boat. I couldn't even make a comment on the last video. I
don't know what to say.
I was like, all right. Here's the clip. We can see that he has no oars. He's having to paddle with the boat with his hands. And also drink... You nasty little idiot. Drinking water like that that's just still in a swamp? Yeah, cholera. He's getting cholera right there. You now see him doing an Eminem music video impersonation to the drone, and then continuing to float his way down the small stream. Of course, drinking this still nasty water as he goes. But you now see him doing hand signals for it to not drop a bomblet on him. Oh, well, they didn't drop a bomblet on him. They just hit him with a 120 millimeter artillery shell, and it looks like the boat's gone.
That man was doing those Tom and Jerry routine type movements to that drone.
Dude, he went, boom, and then started doing the hand signals. But, you know, the Ukrainian drone pilot said, it's okay, I won't throw a bomblet on you. And then he called in the M777 and said, here's the fire coordinates. And then this happened. Oh my gosh.
Jeez. All the rubber went flying everywhere and everything.
Man.
What's that? Oh.
Oh. He's taking a swim. And so with that, that's the end of the clip. And they made the American flag into a Kherson watermelon. That's actually kind of creative, really. But with that, we're going to be moving on from that clip. They're trying to integrate America into Ukrainian culture. Now whenever they sell a Kherson watermelon, Matthew, the quality stamp is going to be an American flag that's made out of watermelon. Honestly, not that bad, though. But anyways, we're moving on from that little clip in Kherson. And, of course, I want to make note of these. We did put these down. We included some clips in today's news of the Sevastopol oil refinery that was on fire last night. We did cover that during last night's news, so we're not going to show the clips again. But I did make sure to put them down just for reference going forward, so that way if anyone's coming back and looking at this map, you all know where that was, because the marker is exactly accurate, and also what it looked like. And so with that, we're going to be moving on from Sevastopol and down into the area of Zolotka, or Zakota, which is the actual way to pronounce it. Zakota is a small little coastal town that is actually a really nice place. It's kind of like a resort town, or as many people here in the south would know, it's kind of Ukraine's version of 30A. And then Odessa would be the Ukrainian version of, let me think, what towns would Odessa be relatable to? It's a kind of like a beach resort kind of place. I'm trying to think. Miami, that's not really, Jacksonville maybe, or Panama City, something similar, maybe even Pensacola. It's kind of like that. But anyways, Zakota is kind of the 30A to Ukraine. And it was a nice place before the war, and they even had this little Luna Park here. In Luna Park, that there's an interesting story about why a lot of theme parks around the world are called Luna Parks instead of theme parks. It's kind of an interesting bit of history about Coney Island, but that's something for another time. Anyways, you can see that they had a nice little place down here. And the Russians have been hitting this town so much with missiles to try and hit this bridge and to also try and destroy anything else within the town that it looks almost unrecognizable. And so here's a clip of Zakota from today, or Zatoka from today. I'm getting it wrong every time, so sorry about that. And this is not from artillery at all. This is all from missile attacks. And the town has been decimated.
Это просто пиздец. Вот аквапарк, уже аквапарк стал открытым, абсолютно. Вот такая, это апокалипсис, здесь никого нету, никто не живет.
The town has been turned into a ghost town as well, as no one really lives here anymore.
Такие вот. Вот если хотите узнать, как будет в апокалипсисе, вот так вот собаки будут, вот так вот, только собаки, людей не будет.
Aw, and the poor dogs. They're just wanting to find people. Look at it, so happy to see
В
someone.
следующий раз я возьму, наверное, привезу еды какой-то. Потому что это полный пиздец, это трешак, я такого никогда не видел. Они бегут, бесконечные собаки, ни одного человека, ни одного магазина нету. Что они здесь кушают, может их кормят кто-то. Надо брать продукты и ехать сюда, вот, зато смотри, какой вид.
I hate to see dogs in conditions like that where they're just abandoned and they're kind of just wandering around in this hellhole. That's sad. And I love to see that this guy immediately started thinking about how he's going to come back and feed these dogs. Hopefully someone can come through and actually get these dogs and take care of them, because I hate to think of poor dogs. And look how sweet they all were. They were such sweet little dogs. Like this one here. Look how happy it was to see someone. And then all the little puppies came running up. And then another one came up, and they're very sweet dogs, very happy to see people. And the poor things, they're having to scrounge for food, most likely. I hate seeing stuff
Dang,
like
dogs
this.
are putting me through the emotional ringer today.
I know.
Jeez.
At first it was Sheba getting bitten by a snake, and now it's these dogs. And I really feel for these dogs, knowing what happened to Sheba today. I'm like, oh, dang it. You know what? I think we're going to have to run a Humane Society fundraiser because of this tomorrow, and also for in honor of Sheba as well for getting bit by a snake. But with that, that's the end of the clip, making me get really in the feels, especially because of what happened to poor little baby Sheba today. And with that, we're now going to be moving out of Zatoka and on up into Kyiv, because we've actually ended up covering everything in Ukraine, north to south, east to west today. And so without further ado, it is time for the speech from President Volodymyr Zelensky here on day 430 of the war in Ukraine. Speech! Now we got to try and get in a good mood after watching that sad video. But anyways, here's the clip.
Дорогі українці, тільки сьогодні в день Умані завершилась пошуково-рятувальні роботи. Я хочу подякувати всій команді ДСНС, нашій поліції, нашим медикам, комунальним службам Умані, військовим, нашим волонтерам, усім, хто взяв участь в рятувальній операції, допомагає врятованим людям. Бажаю якнайшвидшого одужання усім, хто був поранений і цим ударом травмований. Ми зробимо все можливе, щоб держава-терорист якнайшвидше відповіла за скоєне нею. Кожен, хто готує ось такі ракетні обстріли, не може не знати, що стане співучасником вбивства. Кожен, хто наводить ракети, запускає, хто обслуговує літаки, кораблі для терору. Не лише ті, хто віддають накази, а усі. Ви всі терористи і вбивці, і ви всі маєте бути покарані. І обов'язково ті, хто скоїв первісний злочин, з якого почались всі інші злочин агресії проти наших людей, проти нашої держави. Життя 6 дітей забрав цей удар по Умані. Загалом 23 людини загинуло. Світла їм пам'ять, мої співчуття всім рідним, близьким. Наступний тиждень буде доволі важливим з точки зору саме нашої боротьби за справедливість для українців, тобто за покарання для держави-терориста і усіх її воєнних злочинців. Ми готуємо кілька важливих потужних кроків, щоб більше консолідувати партнерів і дати більше енергії для створення трибуналу щодо злочину російської агресії і щоб прискорити поразку держави-терориста. В Україні і світові недостатньо лише того, що Росія була слабкою, як це вже зараз відбувається, а треба, щоб вона повністю відповіла за все скоєне нею. Готуємо нові санкційні рішення щодо осіб та компаній, які працюють на ВПК терористів, щодо іноземних суб'єктів, чиє постачання допомагає Росії продовжувати цю агресію. Незабаром ці наші рішення будуть оприлюднені. Днями я підписав нові укази про відзначення нагородами наших захисників, наших героїв, ще майже 450 воїнів Збройних сил України, сухопутних військ, десантників, повітряних сил, тероборони та ще понад 300 з Національної гвардії, нашої поліції, ДСНС, наші прикордонники. Загалом за час повномасштабної війни вже 45 тисяч, 38 українців і Україна відзначені державними нагородами, і це свідчення надзвичайного щоденного героїзму наших людей. Усіх, хто воює заради України, усіх, хто працює заради нашої перемоги. Слава усім, хто в бою заради нашої держави на бойових постах. Слава усім, хто тренує наших воїнів. Слава усім, хто лікує, реабілітує після поранень, хто відновлює нормальне життя після російських обстрілів та окупацій, хто повертає наших людей з російського полону. Я дякую кожному в світі, хто допомагає нам. Зараз це важливо. Ми високо це цінуємо. Всі разом ми наближаємо вирок для держави зла. Ми наближаємо нашу перемогу. Так і буде. Слава Україні!
And with that, that's the end of the speech from President Volodymyr Zelensky, and that wraps up our day 430 news segment. It has been an incredible day of news, both for Ukraine and also for us as well. And of course, many people have been congratulating us tonight for graduating, and I thank every single one of y'all so much once again for wishing us all the best with the graduation, and of course the best for law school as well, because some of y'all are already looking forward to the future. Also, I thank everyone for their best wishes to Sheba as well. As far as we know, around, let's see, it would have been about 2 hours ago at this point, Sheba was okay. And hopefully she will continue to be okay and she'll improve. Her little head, poor little baby, she had to have her head shaved a little bit where the bite was. But beyond that, she's fine, from what we know for now. And hopefully she gets better over the night, and hopefully she can come back tomorrow night and be back with us again. But I can tell you that, and some people have been saying, oh, you know, like, you need to keep an eye out for snakes. Honestly, my first...
Man, we're going to go on a snake hunt.
my first thought was to kill a couple of them and nail them to the trees around here so that way the snakes can smell the death and most likely leave because they know that they'll be next. But, you know, we'll be figuring out something to do. But it enrages me to no end to have my dogs hurt by anything because we love our dogs with a passion. I love my dogs till the end of days. It's terrible whenever any of them die, like our German Shepherds that none of y'all knew because that was so many years. That was years ago, back when we were in high school. But it angers me to no end when anything hurts my dogs. And the fact that a snake was able to bite our dog today in the middle of our yard and get away with it, and we don't even know where the snake was or what kind of snake it was, that just angers me to no end. It really does. We're probably going to be going out and spending some of our free time that we have now that college has ended, going around the yard with a shovel and making sure to get the snakes wherever we find them. It's Gregory Pinnock said, break out the 12-gauge birdshot. We would, but we live in a neighborhood, and I don't think the neighbors would be happy hearing us blasting the ground with 12-gauge. But I would. If we were in a neighborhood, I promise you I would be out there doing that the next day because birdshot's cheap, and killing snakes is something that we are going to have to start doing. But with that, I hope that does address that fairly well. And we are now about to be moving on into the question segment. Of course, we're going to be answering all of the super chats. I have to be honest with everyone, we have a large amount of super chats. So I do not know if we will be able to answer a big amount of live chats tonight. We have been rounding out the stream earlier than we used to. We've been rounding them out in about 3 hours of length instead of 3.5 hours. But tonight, if we have to, we'll make it a 3.5 hour stream again, just to make sure that we address everyone's super chats and then also get to a decent amount of live chat so that we're not chinching anyone from, you know, having a question answered. So with that, we're now going to be moving on into the question segment. But before we get to the questions, we have to cover the polls. And so with that, what do we got, Matthew?
All right, and real quick, I see some folks asking, what kind of snake was it that bit Sheba? We don't know because she didn't let out a yelp when she got bit. She took it like a champ, as you could say, and she apparently just scurried off, and then we found out later she'd gotten bitten. But based on the spacing of the fangs, the fang marks, it appears to have been probably a copperhead because those are really common around Birmingham. Most likely not a rattlesnake. They weren't that wide, and it was probably an adult snake. So it probably didn't inject all the venom that a baby snake could have. So it's probably better off if it was a bigger one than a small one. But she'll probably be just fine because it looks like they're not even having to use antivenin at this point, which is very good because antivenin is steep. But
Sheba,
but of course, for baby Sheba, she would have gotten it if she needed it.
a little baby Sheba is an absolute champ for taking that like a absolute legend. She took it and didn't even yelp. She just got bit, and apparently it was right in front of our mom because our mom was actually outside with them when that happened. She got bit. She didn't even hear a yelp from the dog, and the dog just acted fine, really, until a little while later when her face started to swell up from the bite. So, you know, she is a champ. She's always a champ. And even when she got bit and was in pain, and Matthew said that while they were taking her to the vet, she was yiping every once in a while, like, you know, letting out a little cry in the car, because at that point the pain was getting really bad for her. Even when she got to the vet, she was still doing her little routine with the vets, trying to act all happy and sweet and all that stuff. She's just a sweet dog. I love those dogs. And Sheba, honestly, while we've shown Mr. Corgi a lot, Sheba is very, very sweet to us, but she's very skittish around strangers. She doesn't like strangers, but she's the sweetest dog once you get to know her. But anyways, with that, let's get on into those polls.
All right. And let's see here. Our very first poll says Poland seized the school of the Russian embassy in Warsaw and they reclaimed the school. And what are your thoughts? 84% said great, take Russia's stuff. 6% said unsure. 8% said why did they do that? And 2% said that's just going to provoke Russia. And I do believe we should take Russia's stuff because they are taking everyone else's stuff. So if they can do it, why can't we do it? So I'm with the 84%. But Enforcer, what say you?
I would say the Polish are completely within their right to do something like that, and I would encourage it. And so with that, I hope we addressed that poll fairly well, and we are on to the next one.
And the next one says, Ukraine has issued a formal complaint on Poland's unacceptable trade restrictions on the grain, and what are your thoughts? 34% said unsure, 32% said, Ukraine could have let that go, 22% said that's a very bad move on Ukraine's part, and 13% said that's a great move because Poland is being bad. And I personally think Ukraine could have probably let that go, considering the amount of support and help that Poland has provided their country. Seems very unwise to make an issue out of something like that, considering what I just mentioned. And hopefully nothing adverse comes of it from doing that. But Enforcer, what say you?
I would say that it's not smart for the Ukrainians to sit there and chastise a country for taking care of their own citizenry. Everyone supports the Ukrainian government when they look out for their own citizenry's interests and make sure to help them in that aim. And I don't think that's smart at all to act like the Polish government should not be looking at taking care of their own citizens, especially their farmers, which are an important part of any economy, and they're less than 1% of it as well. And so it's very fragile. Because considering that there's such a small amount of people who are involved in the agricultural industry, if it gets devastated, it is detrimental to the nation. So I would say that it is important for the Polish to take care of their citizens and their interests, and they should make sure to protect their own farmers from predatory pricing, which it seems that right now, with what the Ukrainians are doing, selling their grain for well below market value, it is predatory pricing for the large part, at least for as far as Poland is concerned, and I completely understand why they're protecting their farmers. And so with that, I hope that does address that fairly well. Hopefully they don't make a big issue out of that, because I for one, would take Poland's side on that any day. The Polish have to look after themselves. The Polish, at the end of the day, still have to be a successful country, because it's through their success and the wealth that they have that they are able to support the Ukrainians the way they do. They shouldn't have to sacrifice their entire country and its stability to support the Ukrainians, because then we have more problems than just Ukraine. So with that, hope that does address that fairly well, and we are on to the next poll.
All right, and the next poll says Taiwan's economy has contracted by 3% and is now formally in a recession, and is this because of China's actions? 43% said yes, China caused it, 18% said unsure, 18% also said somewhat, but it's more nuanced than that, and 22% said that's not the primary reason. And I'm with the 18% that said somewhat. I do believe that has played a factor in their economy going into a recession. China threatening Taiwan is not good for investments, because if you believe Taiwan is going to get invaded, you're not going to want to load more money into the country, because you might end up losing everything. So I believe that's probably played a major factor in it. But of course, there are other factors at play. For example, there is a chip shortage going on worldwide, and Taiwan makes a ton of chips, so that could play a factor in it as well. But in economics, to my understanding, there's usually a lot of factors that play into something like that. But Enforcer, what say you?
I would say that it may be the fears of a war in between China and Taiwan that has led the Taiwanese into a recession. And I would say that we should try and help to counter that recession the best way we can and foster economic growth in Taiwan. Because one thing that the United States it does well is that we are like the I guess you could say well-to-do country club in a way. If you join our club, we foster business and growth in your country. And that's why you see that all of the US's allies are some of the wealthiest and most powerful countries in the world. Take, for example, Japan, that went from being our enemy in the Second World War to the second largest economy in the US's sphere after the Second World War, and even to this day with a GDP of around $5.6 trillion. The GDP of Japan is actually, I believe, directly comparable to the GDP of California, which is also pretty crazy to think about. But anyways, we always make sure to take care of our partners and our friends around the world, make sure that they're well off and that they have money in their pockets as well. And I think that considering that the Taiwanese appear to be going through a recession of their own, we should try and help them to either curb the recession and make it a short one, or help them to rebuild or grow their economy out of the recession again. So with that, I hope that does address that poll fairly well, at least in my opinion. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next poll says the U.S. has demanded that China halt unsafe and provocative actions in the South China Sea. And what are your thoughts? And just for some context, apparently a Chinese and Philippines ship almost collided with each other, and it's becoming a very common occurrence, and the U.S. is getting fed up with it. It looks like 41% said that's a joke, and why even say that? 27% said that'll make China think twice. 15% said unsure, and 17% said that will simply make China mad. And on this one, it doesn't hurt to issue a statement, but it's really not going to solve anything, because if China cared, they wouldn't do it in the first place. But once again, this is the typical line of diplomacy that the U.S. always tries first. Nothing wrong with it, but it won't result in anything in reality. But Enforcer, what say you?
I would have to say it's nice to hear the statement, don't mess around in the South China Sea. I don't think that's going to do anything to change the situation, however. I think we'll actually have to have a military presence down there to force a diplomatic play to then have the Chinese stop doing everything that they've been trying to do in the southern China Sea area or around Taiwan. So with that, I hope that addresses that poll fairly well, and we are on to the next one.
Also, that was our last poll. Real quick, go to Twitter and click on the DM from Jesus
Nope, I already
UCSB.
got it. I already got it.
Yeah, there it is.
I was actually waiting
so
for us to get
cool.
into the question segment, but yeah, I saw it, and I like on the phone, I was like, I have to go grab that. That is the diorama that will be sent, and I think this is actually made by Jesus UCSB. Is it?
I don't know. Like, if it is, he is like super skilled at making like dioramas. This is top notch.
Yeah, that is top notch. It even has a little grass and stuff around it. That is really cool. And I gotta say, I think, and also it looks like we're getting some more challenge coins, I believe. Like we got from Walter A. Lakota. Where is Walter A. Lakota, by the way? He hasn't been around. You know what? He must be underway at sea on the ship. That must be where he is. But
Probably so.
But I gotta thank you so much for sending this to us, Jesus UCSB. This thing is cool. That is really neat. And I love that it even comes with a little case. And I know this now. Now that I've actually seen a picture of it, I'm never seeing this thing rather than like 2 minutes. This thing will be gone.
Well, I have a model case already for some model cars that I collect, and I'm going to clear off a shelf just for this tank because it is a real display piece.
You know what? You know what, Matthew? I'm actually going to have to veto that. This is going on our set. This is going to be in the background of our set somewhere. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah,
that's where this is going. Yeah, because I think that this has got to be. This is the only model I think we've gotten in the mail rather than the Bobcats. And this one is amazing. In fact, we'll actually have to put the Bobcats in the background somewhere too. Both of the little Bobcats that we got. But
Yeah.
But I mean,
I got it up here on the cabinet right now. The little pullback one.
yeah, that's a pullback. But yeah, we'll have to get this thing and put it in the back of the set. But thank you so much once again, Jesus UCSB, for sending this. We'll be making sure to show it the next time the stream, while our podcast goes live. And thank you so much once again, Jesus at UCSB, for always being on this channel, for being a channel legend, and also sending us such cool stuff as this. This is amazing. And so with that, I hope you all enjoyed seeing that. That is super cool. And I think the highest honor we could give it is to put it in the set. And so with that, we are on to the first question of this question segment.
All right, and our first super chat we're going to address goes to Mark, Colonel of the LSA, and he puts in a whopping, massive $400 donation to the channel.
Holy moly!
And thank you so much, Mark. That is extremely generous. He says, now you can both say, trust me, bro, and you'll get respect around here now.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I get no respect around here. No respect. I went into the building today. They told me I had to have a UR code. I said I don't have one, and they said, "Hey, scan this one." It was literally the program for the graduation. That was not the one I needed. I said, "What the hell is this? And why the hell are y'all all so rude down here?" I'm telling you, I get no respect. I get no respect around here.
But anyways, thank you so much for the massive amount of support, Mark. That is huge, and I gotta thank you so much for that. And also, I think I can say trust me, bro, now, because I am a history, I'm not, yeah, I'm a major in history, a bachelor's in history now. I've spent 3 years at college to get that bachelor's in history. I mean, I ought to be versed in something in history, and that's why I'm going to tell you all today about Nazi UFOs and how Hitler is living in Antarctica. Join me on the History Channel at 11 o'clock at night, and I'll also tell you how aliens did everything, and we did nothing. But thank you so much for the massive amount of support, Mark, and helping this channel to keep on running. That is huge. And also, I think hopefully I'll be getting some respect around somewhere. Honestly, I think the one big thing that we don't get respect about on the internet is how old we are, being only 21 and soon 23 years old. You know, a lot of people always want to scoff, well, at least our haters want to scoff at us because we're so young. But my thing is that, you know, it's like,
We're so young, but we're out here killing it, Jerry.
Yeah,
we're killing it.
Killing it, Jerry. We're killing it. And then on top of that, it's like, you know, everyone's always talking about, oh, the young people in this country ought to step forward and just go all out. And then when young people in the country step forward and they try and go all out, then all of these people want to put you down for it. It's like, what the hell do you want? It's like, do you want young people to step up and usually outdo you, or what? I mean, I don't know. Like, not trying to, you know, sit there and, like, you know, like, commend ourselves, but it's like, you know, most of the people who, like, hate on this channel, it's like, I don't get it. You know, it's like, we're doing great things over here, and you're sitting here ratting on us because of our age. It makes no sense. I don't rat on people because of their age or anything like that. But anyways, I still thank you so much for the massive amount of support, Mark, and helping us to keep this thing running. And I think that I can now, and you're right, Mark, you're right. You're absolutely right. Now I can say, trust me, bro, and it's backed up with an entire BS degree. And so with that, thank you once again for support. I hope that does address that fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one. Thank you for being a channel legend and the massive support tonight.
Yes, indeed. And up next, we have a $120 super chat from Not Enough Toys. And thank you so much for that very generous support as well. And he says, graduation, congratulations. And keep with the good work, you too.
And thank you so much for the graduation. Congratulations. That is very hard to say, actually. I had to say that slowly to make sure I got it right. And thank you so much for encouraging us to keep up the good work, because over these next 3 months, I hope that we are able to greatly expand, at least for a short while, because I know that this is not going to be a permanent thing. Once law school begins, we'll have to, of course, scale everything back a little bit more to make sure that we'll really just go back to running the live streams again once law school begins. And, you know, there won't really be a lot of extra videos or anything like that. But over these next 3 months, we hope to put out a whole bunch of cool stuff that all of y'all can enjoy, and will help the Enforcer channel to grow a little bit more and do a little bit more varied things, because we're always wanting to look around to do varied things that are interesting to us and probably interesting to y'all, and hopefully we can do it. Gun reviews will probably be the first thing on the menu, because we have built I've built up a slow collection of guns, and some of them are pretty neat. Like, let's see. Like, let me see what I got. The AK, they got the Mossberg 500, got the Tommy gun. Of course, the Tommy gun was the first one we were ever supposed to review, so hopefully we will be able to review it here soon. We got the 1903, we got a 22 MP5, I actually got that before I started running the stream, and then a whole bunch of other cool stuff, but we're going to save that as a surprise, because some of it is really neat, really hard to find, and somehow we found a couple of them. But anyways, thank you so much. Not enough toys for the support, and I guess you could say that there's never such a thing as enough toys. And so with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again for helping this channel to keep on rolling.
Yes, indeed. And up next, we have a $100 donation from Just Chillin' as well. And thank you, Just Chillin', for that massive support also.
No.
And he says, cheers to the new graduates and best wishes for your future. And thank you so much.
And thank you so much, Just Chillin', for the cheers to the new graduates. We are now UAB alumni. I don't even know what that really means. I don't know what kind of benefits come with being a UAB alumni. I don't really think there's any rather than the lapel, but still, I thank you so much for the best wishes, and I cannot wait to move on into law school now. It is only a matter of waiting about 3 more months, and I'll be finally stepping in through the doors of the law school. Both Matthew and me on the same day at the same time, most likely, to begin
Same classes.
Yeah, same classes and everything, to begin our journey through the school of law and on into becoming an attorney, and then eventually for me to become a politician. Anyways, it's that. Thank you so much once again for the support, Just Chillin', and thank you for helping this channel to keep on rolling, and also congratulating us on such a special day. And so with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and the next one goes to Snurden1, who puts in a $100 donation as well, and thank you very much also for the massive support. I feel like I'm saying that a ton tonight, but seriously though, thank you very much. And they say, longtime lurker, second or third day of the invasion. That's old guard, by the way. And thanks for your reporting, and congrats to you both.
And thank you so much, Snurden1, for the support. And you have never, I don't think we've ever seen you before. Like, you know, throwing in a super chat. I think I may have seen you, maybe, I feel like I actually haven't, in the live chat before. But you are certainly an old guard. And hell, you were here before the wave came in on day 4. And I got to thank you so much once again for enjoying our reporting. And I thank you so much for congratulating us on graduating, and of course supporting this channel, because it means a lot to us that folks back us up and want us to continue to do the things we're doing in the background. Because while it seems that this YouTube thing that we're doing right now, supporting Ukraine, is great, I have even larger plans, of course, honestly astronomical plans in the background that hopefully I can eventually get around to doing. And thanks to y'all's support, y'all have helped us to already accomplish our first milestone, which is graduating college. And hopefully we'll also be able to go through law school with flying colors as well. Hopefully, in law school, I'll be able to graduate summa cum laude, but one can only dream on that. That's a pretty high up there. Maybe even be valedictorian. Although weirdly enough, our valedictorian didn't give a speech today during the graduation commencement. There was no speech from either the valedictorian, or what is the other name for the person who's
Salutatorian or salutatorian?
Yeah, something like that. Neither of them gave a speech, which was really odd. But still, thank you so much once again for the massive support, and thank you for congratulating us on such a big day. It's a really cool day. And with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you once again for the support.
And the next one goes to Cindy Mitchell, who puts in a $50 super chat. And thank you very much, Cindy, very much for the support. She says, good. Tucker, and that is her grandson, I believe, said a thumbs up on the graduation, and his dad is here to take him home. I'm a bad nana. And take it to the chat, sir, Matt.
Well, don't rat yourself out. But still, thank you for the support. And also, thank you to Tucker for giving us a thumbs up on the graduation. That's really cool to hear. And I hope he's having a fun time taping people up and doing all the other things that Tucker does in the background. You're not a bad nana. You watch this channel, so that means you can't be a bad nana. You got to be a great one because he's watching this show. And also, thank you so much once again for the support and congratulating us on such a special day. And we will make sure to get ourselves a live chat. And so with that, what do we got, Matthew?
All right. And also, I see some folks saying that's messed up. They didn't let the valedictorian speak. I don't know if they refused to let them speak or if they did away with that. But if somebody works their tail off to get, that high of a GPA, they deserve to have their moment in the spotlight. And so I don't know what was up with that, but they should let them speak.
Yeah, I don't even think they called out who the valedictorian was.
They didn't.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. I just remembered. We may have not gotten the valedictorian or the salutatorian speech because they may have been a part of a different school.
Oh,
I think that's it.
True.
Yeah, I think that's it. Is because the entire spring semester class was graduating, and we didn't hear a speech then, but there were multiple other classes that were graduating throughout the day. That's why we didn't get a valedictorian speech. So they probably did let them speak. It's just that we didn't have the valedictorian in the School of Arts and Sciences.
Although I thought maybe there was like a valedictorian in each school, wasn't there?
I don't know. Maybe that is the way it works. Maybe not. I don't really know. I'm honestly a little bit ignorant about how that works. I may be a BSer now, but I'm not BSing
Oh.
that much. But anyways, with that, we are on to the next one. Well, wait a minute. Did we even get to the live chat?
No, we're going to the live
Oh,
chat
yeah.
right now, and this one goes to Alan Sanderson, who says, "Can a PMC mutiny, or can they just cancel the contract?"
The PMC can mutiny. It could cancel the contract, but that will probably be viewed as a mutiny. So either way, yes, they will most likely just be mutinying. One is just more so with a formal step involved. And so with that, I hope that answers the question. Thank you so much, once again, Cindy Mitchell, for sponsoring that live chat and also congratulating us on this day. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Marion Deemert, who puts in a $50 super chat. And thank you so much, Marion, for the support. And she says, "Starting your future law school bill."
Oh, oh, oh no! Oh no! Oh, and law school's expensive. Goodness. Whenever we look at the cost of law school, we're like, good God, we're going broke. But still, thank you once again for the support, Marion Deemer, and starting off our law school fund, because that's going to be a trip. I mean, that's going to be a financial trip, not just a trip of getting through the school. Affording is going to be tough. But hey, that's what federal loans are for. But anyway, still, thank you so much for the support. I hope that does address that fairly well. And thank you for starting off our law school fund. And with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you for the support.
And the next one goes to Truster1, who also throws in a $50 super chat and says, "Contributing to Marion's Law School Fund." And thank you so much, Truster. And also, congratulations to Marion for deciding to go to law school.
And thank you for the support, Trister. And thank you to Matthew for making sure to read it literally. But thank you so much once again for helping us to keep this channel running the whole time, Trister. And also congratulating us on getting through college and making our way on towards law school. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope we addressed that fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and our next one is going to go to Heather Fitzgibbon, who also throws in at 50. And thank you so much, Heather, for the support. She says, "Congratulations, boys, and the LSA is so proud of you." And also, thank you very much, Heather, as well, for the kind words.
And thank you so much for the kind words, Heather. And I'm glad that the Lee Spring Army is proud of us. We were thinking for a little bit. Well, actually, I was thinking, I didn't really say this. I was thinking about announcing where our graduation would be, so that way fans in the area could show up. But I decided against that in my head because, as you all know, there are crazy people out there, and we could possibly get killed. So I didn't really want people to know exactly where we would be, although someone apparently did watch the live stream today because we didn't even say that we graduated magna cum laude, and they already knew that we did. And so someone was watching the live stream of the UAB graduation on YouTube and saw us graduate, which is pretty cool. And I thank you for keeping that much attention to us that you would know we went to UAB. And I think that was only mentioned like twice beforehand. And you also watched the live stream as well. That's really cool. But I do thank you so much for the support and congratulating us. And I'm so proud of all of y'all sticking with us through this entire war and even through me graduating college. Because when this war started, I was a sophomore. I was a sophomore going into my junior year in college when the war began. And now I've gone all the way to graduating college. And y'all have been with me the entire way. Of course, not knowing the exact details of everything happening in college and what I was doing. But of course, here every single step of the way. And so I got to thank you all so much once again for being here with me and Matthew while we completed our college. And with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again for the support and the congratulations as well.
Yes, indeed. And up next, we have a $50 super chat as well from Charlie Nickel. And thank you very much, Charlie, for the support. And also, by the way, I was wearing your T-shirt yesterday, and I got a lot of comments from my parents. So they were like, "Wait, how do you get every single meme on the shirt?" I was like, "I don't know." He even got Mr. Corey on here, and they were shocked. But thank you again for the shirts as well. He says, "Since you're going to be attorneys, you'll need equipment to locate clients requiring immediate representation." Forget drones for a bit. This is for the police scanner fund. And Charlie, I gotta say, That is the quickest way to get put out of the law very fast. That's like the fast track, like skip, go, do not collect $200 type way to get out.
Actually, I plan on getting a stock car from NASCAR and chasing down ambulances like it's the Indy 500. That's my plan. I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, man, you'll end up with a suspended bar license faster than you can talk.
Oh, you know it. You know it. But I got to thank you so much for the support. And of course, always backing us up in keeping this channel running. But I don't think we'll be doing any of that stuff. I don't think we'll be doing that. But still, thank you so much once again. I hope we addressed that fairly well. And speaking of which, you know something, Matthew? I don't know if I put these in our DMs before, but I thought right now would be a good moment to show folks, just in case we never shown Sheba before, to show them Sheba, because I don't think we've ever really shown her a lot. So I actually put some pictures of Sheba in our DMs. There's little baby Sheba. That's our little baby dog that got bitten today by a snake. And also, there's another picture of her going for Matthew when he was messing with her and playing with her on the couch. And she was going in for a little chomp.
Poor thing. Now her snout is twice the size.
Now her snout has grown 2 sizes today. But luckily, the little baby is okay from what we know, and hopefully she'll be coming back to us and once again getting back to playing and wumping. A famous thing that she does in our house is wumping, which is where she goes onto something. She'll do it on a wall or a couch, and she'll like lean onto it and walk down the length of it and eventually just fall onto the floor sideways, and then she'll use her whole body and she'll go whump. And that's when she lets us know that she wants to play or she wants a snack or something. But she's a precious dog. We love this dog. We love Mr. Corgi and Sheba equally. But Sheba really is the sweeter of the two in her outward personality. She is so sweet. And we'll eventually make a video with both of them in it to kind of show you all the dogs, because I know a lot of y'all love our little corgis. And I'll make sure to show them to you, because little baby, her little head right over here is shaved off right now. She has no fur over there, so it'll have to grow back out. But she's a precious dog. I love this dog. So with that, I thank you so much once again for support. I hope we addressed your comment fairly well, and I hope we showed Sheba fairly well on top of that. And with that, we're going to be moving on to the next one. But thank you so much once again for support and helping this channel to keep on rolling.
And hopefully after this snake bite, she'll learn not to mess with snakes. We did have a Siberian Husky before that never quite learned. Got bitten, I think, like 5 times.
7.
And we never, 7 times. And I think like the 3rd or 4th time, we said we just can't keep, bringing them to the vet and trying to, throw the whole like, medical like industry at them.
Cabinet,
So
yeah.
that dog just was resilient as hell. Just survived all the snake bites and kept coming back to kill all the other snakes too, and the raccoons and the armadillos and the foxes and pretty much everything.
Yeah, that dog, man. I think Petunia literally decreased the biodiversity of the ecosystem in the Wetumpka area single-handedly. That dog killed everything, I think, in the area. We had nothing when we moved out. Like, there were no raccoons around, there were no possums around, there was nothing around anymore. All of it had been killed and never came back. So that I hope that addresses that fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Telmed, who puts in a $50 super chat. And thank you, Telmed, for the support. He says, congratulations, and here's to your future.
And thank you for the support, Telmed. And thank you for the congratulations as well. And thank you for supporting our future. Every single night that y'all throw in super chats and support this channel, y'all help us to keep it running, and y'all also help us to keep our eyes on the future. And thanks to y'all support, we hopefully will be able to make it through law school, although that's still kind of a question. But still, with that, thank you so much once again, Telmed, for the support. And of course, the congratulations as well. And with that, we are on to the next one. But hopefully, you're making a good investment. Now, I don't mean be biased or anything, because I am the investment, but I think you're making a good investment. So with that, we're on to the next one. Thank you so much once again.
All right, and the next one goes to Confarelli, who puts in a $50 super chat as well. Hey! And thank you, Confarelli, for the support. And a big shout out to the fire department as well. He says, congratulations, fellas, and have a cup of coffee and a dog treat on me. I have a gun that y'all might want to review. Grab a live chat with my super chat, please.
Oh, I'm glad that you caught that, Matthew. I was going to make sure that we did catch that early, because I saw it in the live chat. But thank you so much for the congratulations, Confarelli. Now, in case y'all don't know, I've actually talked to Confarelli off air because Confarelli knows a friend of mine that's in my reenacting group. And so that friend gave Confarelli well, he asked me to call Confarelli, so I actually called him over the phone and then got to know him over Discord. And Confarelli, as a firefighter here now in the central Alabama area, and not only that, this guy is an avid Minecraft player. Now, some of y'all may know about the amazing things that people have built on Minecraft. People have built unbelievable stuff on Minecraft. This guy is out here every single day, whenever he has free time, building one of the most impressive cities I've seen built in Minecraft ever. And it's in survival, which, if you don't know, that makes the game a lot more difficult to do anything in. And I was just blown away. And also, he's a pretty cool guy as well. Pretty talkative, very interesting guy to talk with, much like everyone. But it was really cool to talk to Confarelli. Also, I gotta thank you so much once again for the support and the congratulations. We will make sure to have a cup of coffee and a dog treat. I know I don't eat dog treats personally. You know, that's something for Freddy and his young pioneers to consume, is the dog snacks right out of the back of the car. And when you think about it, Matthew, that was a really commie thing for Scooby-Doo and the gang to do, is to eat dog treats. You know, it's like the cheapest form of food possible. That is some real commie stuff right there. But anyways, we'll make sure to let little baby Sheba have the dog treat. And also, we would be interested in hearing what gun you possibly have that we could review. Because we're always interested in firearms. I'm always interested in firearms. And also, I don't know if I should spoil this one, Matthew. Should I spoil one of them?
The firearm review?
Yeah, one of the firearms that we have that we'll be reviewing.
Oh yeah, that's just hyping it up. That's good in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, you know, y'all may remember that a while ago I was actually trashing on bullpups. You know, for a good while, and said I don't really like them. They're weirdly balanced. You know, they're difficult to hold. And so I sat there and talked so much trash about bullpups, and I really thought, I have never shot one. I've only held them. So what if I actually have one and shot one? And so I did a lot of looking, and I found what's in the gun world, a brand new one, at least in terms of its production year, that has come out that we will be reviewing in a gun review video. And that is a Springfield Hellion. Many of y'all may remember I talked about this for a while on the channel, and that's because this one was being eyeballed as the candidate for a bullpup gun review video. And I have to say, we got this thing, and it is actually not that bad. You can ask Matthew. I went and got a vertical foregrip for it on the front, and also a reflex sight to put on top of it, kind of like the one you see here in this picture, but a little bit different. It's a Holosun. And the balance of it is not that bad, really. And once you get used to it, I'd have to say, I'm kind of starting to become a bullpup fan, at least in the way the weight's distributed. But of course, we'll make a gun review on it. We'll show y'all the Springfield Hellion, how it works, and if it's good or not. You know, and of course, just let y'all know. But anyway,
and whenever he walks all over the house with it, I say, "Oh, hey, Hellion."
Hellion. And yes, sometimes, in case y'all are wondering, we wander around the house with some of them, just because we like holding them, because they're kind of neat. And also,
don't ever try to break in.
but right now, Matthew, someone's thinking, oh man, I could probably have them swatted, and hopefully that's not the case, because that's a felony, by the way, just in case if anyone out there is trying to get any ideas. But moving on from that, let's see. Casey Johnson said, strong pass. Cannot believe. Okay, listen. I'm gonna say this. I was much like you a while ago. Actually, when I started this stream a good long time ago, I was much like you. I was not a fan of bullpups at all, and I'm actually becoming a fan now. And also, Kilo 19 just said, hate him. I'm a lefty. You wouldn't believe it, but you can actually, in a matter of minutes, change this rifle from being a right-handed rifle to a left-handed rifle. It's ambidextrous. You can actually change the ejection port and everything, and I've done it, and it works. I haven't shot it yet, though. I've only held it, and I've only converted it to being a left-hand firing gun. But this thing is really interesting, and I think after holding this one for a little bit, messing around with it, not shooting it yet, I could see why a lot of countries in the world started to move towards bullpups. But we'll talk about that in the gun review video. But still, hopefully we will make plenty of these, and hopefully y'all will enjoy them. We hope that a lot of y'all will enjoy the videos. We're going to be making them, and I'm going to say this, we are probably going to be taking a good bit of inspiration from some of the bigger gun channels out there, like Grand Thumb, which we honestly think is one of the best out there in terms of the cinematography and things like that. Of course, we will probably not have the Sonoran Desert Institute as our sponsor, at least off the bat, but a lot of other things will be taking inspiration because it's a great channel, and I got to say, those are probably some of the more interesting videos out there. But I don't think we'll be wearing the kit. Our idea is actually to wear suits while we do the gun review, or at least the suits without the jacket. But anyways, with that, we're going on too long about this and giving off a little bit too much about the videos. But with that, I thank you so much once again for support, Confarelli. We would love to see the gun that you have, and also maybe one day we will review it. Who knows? But with that, thank you so much once again for support. I hope that does address that fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you once again for helping this channel to keep on running. And we're about to get to that live chat.
All right, and the live chat question is going to go to, let's see here, David L., who says, Enforcer, do you think that Ukraine needs to continue efforts to rid itself of corruption prior to joining the EU, NATO, etc., or should they be fast-tracked, and everybody politic has corruption after all?
I don't know what the last part means.
He said all politics has corruptions after all.
Oh, yes. All of it does. And I think one of the most interesting examples of that recently has been the border guard scandal. There is corruption everywhere. Don't ever be deceived that anything's better than another. There's just different ways that corruption exists. But with the Ukrainian border guard scandal, this has been something that we have kind of touched on a little bit throughout the course of the war, is that there are probably border guards that are being bribed to allow people to cross. And a lot of people said, and a lot of people said that that's just straight up baloney. That's not true. That can't be happening. People are leaving with valid reasons and valid causes. And then it came out that the SBU conducted a sting on practically all of the major border checkpoints and found out that there were officials in every single one of them that were allowing people to cross that should not be able to cross because they were being bribed. Of course,
although I will say though, it's not unusual for that to happen because that even happens here in the U.S. on a pretty decent scale as well.
It does, but it's one thing. It's one thing to just have it happening during peacetime. It's another thing to have conscription age men leaving the country in the middle of wartime. That's much more serious than just your normal domestic ebb and flow in a way. And that's something that we had said, and a lot of people said, no, that's not true. That's not been happening. And now it is. And now it's starting to beg the question, how many people got out? And, how many are there? That's something that, is kind of, that's something that I asked myself when I saw that. It was like, that's interesting. But anyways, I hope that addresses the corruption part very well. And can you read the other part of the live chat, Matthew?
Let's see. It says, should it be fast-tracked into NATO or the EU or rid itself of corruption first?
I think it should be fast-tracked into NATO for sure. The European Union has to be a slow integration because while the European Union started off at its initial concept as allowing any European nation into it as long as they want it to be, in modern practice, that's actually a little difficult because a new country being added in could destabilize the EU's economy. And so they would have to probably slowly integrate the Ukrainians to make sure that it doesn't become a disruptive or damaging force to the European Union. So fast-track NATO, slow-track the EU if need be. Just make sure that it goes at the fastest suitable speed as far as EU membership is concerned. And that's the way I would address those two, at least if I was a person involved in that process. So with that, I hope that addresses that fairly well. Thank you once again for support, Confarelli, and allowing us to address that live chat. And with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again for helping this channel to keep on running.
And up next, we have a super chat from none other than Duncan VR, who puts in a $40 donation. And thank you, Duncan, for the support. He says, Bamuba. Of course, the animal noises are back. He says, Corporal Duncan VR, and he's issued himself a self-promotion as well, kind of like Mark did. Corporal Duncan VR issues challenge to Ukraine forces. Ba ba. Drop dirty bomb on the Kremlin while Putler is on the crapper. Ba ba ba. Thanks for the streaking video, and I threw up my pizza. Meow woof. Good to catch you live again.
And I thank you for the support, WBR. Back with the animal noises. And thank you once again for helping this channel to keep on running. And I have to say, a dirty bomb on Putin. That's nuclear war. Now, if it's just a dirty bomb like an IRA kind of dirty bomb, okay, I'm fine with that. But any other kind, yeah, well, man, it's nuclear. But still, thank you so much once again for the support, Duncan VR, and helping this channel to keep on running. And of course, we always love to hear the animal noises. We love to see it, love to see it. And so with that, we're on to the next one. And thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on rolling.
Yes, indeed. And up next, we have a $25 super chat from Jocelyn White. And thank you very much for the support. And Jocelyn says, congratulations. And thank you very much.
And thank you, Jocelyn, for the support. And thank you for the congratulations as well. I'm saying this a lot tonight, but it was a very big day for us. Graduating college is something pretty neat. I think honestly, it added a lot to it that we were magna cum laude, which is so hard to say. I don't know why. But I'm glad to know that we were able to graduate with that kind of honor instead of just, because some people would go up there and it was just their name. It would be like John Smith. And then it would be the next person, Joseph Peterson, something, 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 something. And, and I was like, oh, man. I felt bad for the people who had nothing as an honor or a title or anything like that. I was like, man, that's kind of rough for those people. But I was very glad to be graduating magna cum laude, or at all, really. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the congratulations, and thank you for the support as well. And so with that, we are on to the next one.
And also, by the way, Miss Deesa's out here doing some pro-level snooping. She sent me a picture in the Discord of us walking on the stage for the graduation.
Oh, really?
Zoomed in. Yes, and I know exactly where this came from. I don't think this was the official broadcast, by the way. But Miss Deesa, that's some good snooping, good looking you're doing there. I see myself looking bald, and I see Andrew walking up behind me, looking like he's gonna run me over.
Wait, hang on. Where is this again?
It's in my DM. I'll just send it over to you.
Okay, I'll look at it. I'll look at it here on my phone, so that way it doesn't get seen.
You can show it You can show it. It's not sensitive or anything.
Oh yeah, that is us. That is us actually. Right there. That's Matthew. That's me. Yep, there we are. And I got to tell you, man, those robes, that yellow,
that green.
Yeah, that green, man. Jeez, that was a rough color green. But yikes. Yeah, that was us, though. That is it. Now, where the hell could that come from? Oh, wait a minute. By the way, real quick, I'll actually get that off screen because I just realized that the picture I took with the dragon, I actually got sent those pictures. Well, actually, I'm not going to show... Yeah, actually, I'm not going to show those because those have some of my friends in it. So, I'm going to ask them before I show them. But I'll show them... Actually, I'll send them to you over text real quick. Well, no, we won't do that. We'll do that later because that'll take time for me to download them off the text thread and everything. But anyways, you actually did find it. That was us. And Lauren said camo. Yeah, it's kind of like one-tone camo. I mean, like, hell, at least if we were graduating in the middle of the fields of outside of Bakhmut, at least we blend in. So with that, thank you once again for the support. Well, actually, thank you for finding that, Miss Deesa. You are, as they say, a tier 1 stalker. And with that, here on to the next one. I'm just kidding with you.
All right, and up next, we have a $25 super chat from Red1967, who says, congratulations, Enforcers. And thank you so much, Red, for the support.
And thank you so much, Red, for the support and congratulating us because it was a really cool day today. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope we addressed that fairly well. And thank you always for supporting this channel and keeping us in mind even during all of the college rigors and the channel rigors that we've been going through for 430 days. And so with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you once again.
All right, and the next one goes to James Dunn, who puts in a $20 donation. And thank you, James, for the support. He says, congratulations on graduating, you two, and thanks for always bringing the news. And James, of course, and thank you very much.
And thank you so much for the support, James, as well. And also congratulating us on getting through college. One thing that a lot of people, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't think our haters weigh this in, is that we just don't do this. We're not just living in our parents' basement, which we are, and and running the stream. Those are not the only two things we do. We were doing full-time college in the background. Well, at least I was every single semester. for Matthew, there was, I think, actually this last semester, he was only taking 2 classes. I was taking 5, and one of them was my capstone class, which was massive near the end. Hopefully that essay did well. I haven't checked the grade on that essay yet. Well, anyways, I graduated magna cum laude, so it couldn't have been that bad because it would have dropped my GPA. But anyways, it's been crazy doing all of this in the background, and I don't think that's one thing that our haters really keep in mind, is that we have an entire 2 separate lives going on. We have this life where we run the Ukraine war news and run this channel, and we have an entirely separate academic life the entire time where we're going through college and trying to complete assignments and get grades and graduate. And we finally completed that one, and now we're moving on to part 2 of that in law school, and we're still doing this on top of it all. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support and congratulating us on that, because it certainly has been one hell of a journey. And so with that, thank you so much once again, and we're on to the next one.
All right, and the next one goes to ABCD, who puts in a $20 super chat and sadly does not leave a comment, but ABCD, thank you very much for the support. And Enforcer, what say you?
And thank you so much, ABC 1, 2, 3. I'm just kidding, but thank you so much, ABCD or ABDC, I believe it is.
ABCD.
ABCD, EFG. Thank you so much for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. If you didn't leave a comment, but the support does mean a lot to us, and especially on this day when we graduated. And so with that, thank you for the support, and we are on to the next one. And also, let me just say this real quick. Long live the Lee Spring Army. I'm putting LSA in the chat if you agree. And so with that, we're on to the next one.
All right. And also, I don't know about the Enforcer, but kind of like last night, my mind's starting to go already. I'm looking at my screen, and it's like I wasn't processing anything in the live chat. I was reading something, but my brain wasn't here reading it, if y'all know what that feeling feels like. I went to sleep last night. I think it was at 2 a.m. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. I've gone all day today, been on an emotional roller coaster with the dog, did the graduation, and now, let's see, it's 11:21. Man, I can't even believe I'm still ticking right now. Like, I'm running purely on caffeine and just pure excitement.
Man, well, I mean, that's a day in the life of me. That is a day in the life of me. But with that, I completely understand where you're coming from. I don't feel like that because I was very lucky today. I came home. We came home after celebrating and having a lunch out for the graduation, because we don't have suppers out or anything. We just have lunch. That's the best we can do as a like a surprise thing. Also, banning that one, that was a weird question right there. I mean, like, you know, a really good question in response to that one is, what kind of weirdo asked that question in the middle of a war stream? That's just the weirdest question ever. But anyways, we got done celebrating at the lunch. We came back home, and I went to sleep at 2:30 in the afternoon, woke up at 6, and then got down here and got to work immediately. And then that's when I was told by my mom that in the middle of all of that, the dog had been bit and had been taken to the vet because it had been bitten by a copperhead. And I was in the middle of making the news when I heard that. Matthew was over in his office feeling distraught about our little baby dog being bit. And honestly, we all felt pissed off about that. I mean, you know, we were, Matthew and me were already planning what to do to go out into the yard and start killing off as many snakes as we can. And we were probably going to get to doing that here within the next week.
Probably tomorrow morning.
Oh, probably tomorrow morning.
Probably tomorrow morning.
Well, yeah, probably tomorrow morning. We're probably about to be going out there and having ourselves a little rattlesnake rodeo, but it ain't going to be no rodeo. It's going to be a rattlesnake execution. But anyways, or a copperhead execution, whatever the hell the thing is, we're going to find them all, even if it wasn't the one responsible for it, and we're going to get them. Because
and this ain't Pokemon. These things are going down.
Oh, this ain't Pokemon. They ain't going in a Pokeball. They going into well, we can't explain what they're going into, but
they're going into a big pile.
Wood chipper. Anyway, so that we are on to the next. But thank you once again for the support. I hope this channel to keep on running, and also congratulating us.
Yes, indeed. And up next, we have a $20 super chat from Eric N, as well as BC Skyman once again. And thank you to Eric and BC very much for that continued support and helping the channel keep on running. And we do appreciate it. Enforcer, what say you?
And thank you so much for the support and helping this channel to keep on running, because folks like you who have been around for an incredibly long time are the reason this channel is able to keep on rolling. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address that fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one. And also, Ukraine Dude 88 said, poor snakes, don't kill the rare ones. There aren't really a lot of rare ones around where we are. It's just all of the common variety. And I've got to tell you this, I'm totally fine with letting snakes pretty much exist at being. I'm totally fine with that until they do something to my dogs, and then I have to go out there and I have to be the one who puts them on the endangered species list. That's just how it works for me. I'm totally fine with letting animals do their own thing, but once they hurt my dogs, that's when I'm going to get every single one of them, and this area, this zip code is going to be completely cleared of snakes at that point. So with that, I hope that addresses that fairly well. I hope you understand where I'm coming from, because I would rather have all the snakes in this area dead than my dog dead. But with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and up next, we have a $20 super chat from Melissa Smith, Major Bobcat Detonator. And thank you very much for the support, Melissa. And she says, party time, and congratulations, guys. And y'all are actually here with us during our party time. This is our version of a party, and I gotta say, I like it a lot better than the other type.
Yeah, this is our party. We don't actually have time for parties because we're so busy working, quite simply. But I do thank you so much for the support for the party fund. And this is our party. It's with all of you running the show. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running, because it is people like you who make it possible for us to do this day in and day out, and to go to college and further coalesce our ideas of becoming attorneys and presidents of this great nation. And so that we are on to the next one, and thank you once again for the support.
And also, I saw Lauren say in the live chat, interesting stew at Enforcer's house on Sunday, hashtag snake gumbo. I was thinking on the merch store, we could have run a limited edition snakeskin shoes, Enforcer shoes like that, you know?
Snakeskin shoes, you say?
Limited edition. Copperhead and rattlesnake combo.
Limited editions, you say? I think we could perchance. I don't think we'd be able to keep it up for long. I think we'd probably get all of them within the first week. But yes, I think we could. Also, if you're wondering where that accent comes from, Ryan I thought said legit English accent. That one's kind of like a joke on Sir David Lloyd George's accent. I know that sounds so weird because it's such a specific person. But during the Treaty of Versailles, it was stated that David Lloyd George was sitting out in the corridor, and someone noted him looking at a map of the Middle East and going, yes, I'll have some of this over here. Brilliant. And he was like literally just carving it up in his head out loud, and someone noted it and wrote it down. And so since then, that's where that accent idea came from, was from Sir David Lloyd George and him carving up the Middle East into the protectorates it would be for about the next few decades. But anyways, with that, we are on to the next one, and thank you for bringing that up.
And up next, we have a $20 super chat from Tom Exman, and thank you, Tom, for the support. He says, congratulations.
And thank you, Tom Exman, for the support and the congratulations. It does help us to keep this channel running, and it also is a great token of thanks for us graduating, and I'm very appreciative that so many of y'all have congratulated us and supported us this night on such a big day for us. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope I've addressed that fairly well, and with that, we're on to the next one, and thank you so much once again.
And the next one goes to Moity Movies, who puts in a $20 super chat and says, congratulations and keep up the smart, motivated work.
And thank you so much for the support. Now my work is not just stupid and daft, it is quite smart and genius, actually, because now I have a bachelor's degree to back it up. Now I can go around and tell people that I have written dissertations, and now I sound intellectual. But still, thank you so much for the support and enjoying what we do. It is folks like you who support us that allow us to keep doing this kind of work. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been able to do this. If it wasn't for all of you, I wouldn't have been able to do this as a full-time thing. And I appreciate y'all so much for all the support y'all have shown this channel, all of the kindness and generosity that y'all display every single day, especially tonight, and helping us to keep this thing rolling. And so with that, thank you once again. I hope that does address that fairly well. And with that, we're on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Wubba, who puts in a $20 super chat and says $20 toward your student loans. And thank you, Wubba. That'll give us a head start on the interest.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. And thank you for the support and also getting us right up ahead of those student loans. We always have to be paying back the student loans. The student loans will never leave us. We are a slave to the government now. A slave, I tell you. I'm just kidding. But still, thank you for the support and helping us to get moving on forward towards paying off those loans. And with that, we are on to the next one. Thank you so much once again for support and congratulating us on graduating college.
Indeed. And up next, we have a $20 super chat from John Webster, who says, congratulations on graduating, and I can't wait to see your summer content. Long live the LSA, and live chat question, please.
And long live the Lee Spring Army. And thank you for the congratulations on graduating. I feel like we've said that so many times tonight, Matthew. And, and it's getting better every time. It feels savory now. And I can't wait to see our summer content as well, because it's not going to film itself, I will tell you that. But still, thank you for the support. Long live the Lee Spring Army. And we'll make sure to grab a live chat question for you here in a minute. Now with that, Matthew, what's our live chat question, eh?
And the live chat question goes to Buckbeak's Garden, who says, how do the owners of the PMCs make money for going to war, and who pays the owners?
Well, my boy, that's an excellent question that you've asked, and to answer that question, we first have to start with a commercial, and that is by Colgate. Get the whitest smile with Colgate.
I'm just kidding, we're not sponsored by Colgate, by the way.
That's splendid.
Absolutely wonderful, my boy. But to answer that question, I would say that the Wagner units get paid by contracts from the Russian government. That is how they get paid and make money. And the plan of a PMC is that the contract is a set amount of money. They take up the contract and they get paid, I believe, up front. They then have to figure out how to conduct their operations in a cost-effective manner where they end up making a profit at the end of it, but they're able to achieve the goals of the contract. That is, as far as I understand, how the PMCs are working. So with that, I hope that answers that live chat fairly well. Thank you so much once again for the support and sponsoring it. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And up next, we have a $15 super chat from Hunter Stevens, who says, congrats, Leafs, and question from the chat.
And thank you for the support. Thank you for the congratulations as well. I'm very, very... I don't even have words for it. I'm just very pleased that college is over with, and I ended up being a magnum cum laude. Well, anyway, we're not going to make that joke, but we will make sure to grab a live chat question. And thank you so much once again for the wonderful support.
Yes, indeed. And up well, not up next. We're actually moving on to that live chat question,
Good
which goes
me.
to... oh, dear. This one goes to Coral Danilo, who says, have you addressed Reznikov saying to not overplay the counteroffensive? Is he speaking truth, or is it a feint?
Yes, we actually addressed that last night, believe it or not, in the middle of a poll, actually. It was a part of a poll. And I would have to say, I think he's trying to just downplay just some kind of a feint to make the Russians think that the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense doesn't have a lot of confidence in their own plans. I don't really see the logic behind believing that the statements are true, but it seems like everyone else in the government is quite optimistic about the upcoming offensive. And so with that, I hope that does address that fairly well. Thank you so much once again for sponsoring that live chat question and helping us to keep this channel running. And with that, we're on to the next one.
And getting cracking on the next one, we have a $15 super chat from Zyper Sniper 1, who says, feel well soon, Shiba. And great stream as always, guys, and give a question to the chat, please.
And thank you so much for the support. And I say, get well to Shiba as well, little baby. I know Matthew can't see it, sadly, but my little baby Shiba, there she is right there. She's not with us right now. Hopefully she'll be with us again tomorrow or the next day. But I love this dog. I love Mr. Corgi. I love them both. And it angers me so much to think that the little baby was bitten by a snake. And she's such a sweet little thing that she never even yelped out when she got bit. She never even really let people know that she was wounded. She just kind of went about everything normally until her head started to swell up, and then, you know, the pain got so bad she started, whining and crying, and then we got her to the vet. We didn't get her to the vet. My mom and Matthew got her to the vet. I was asleep at that moment and didn't even know that that was happening. But still...
Snakes shall die in mass tomorrow, and the prizes will be presented to Shiba for approval.
Yes, without the heads. We'll be making sure to remove the heads and throw them in a separate box, but... still, Love this dog. I love her so much, and I can't wait for her to come home. Because when we came home from graduation today, she came up to both of us, and she was wagging her tail, and she was sitting there, and it's like she knew we graduated, and she was just so sweet to us, and came over and individually, like, hung out with us for a second and let us pet her, and then moved on to the other. And she's just the sweetest thing. I love this dog, and we're going to make the snakes pay. But with that, thank you for the best wishes for Sheba's recovery, and we'll be making sure that she does recover. Hopefully. And so with that, we're on to the next one. And thank you so much once again.
Oh dear.
Oh,
Arnie
my
Yunt
goodness.
puts in a very large, very hefty $300 super chat.
Oh!
Now, wow.
Dreadful scandal.
Go ahead and read it,
My
brother.
goodness. One of two. Congrats to you both. You have to split. Put it towards something fun. Like guns and ammo and some Taco Bell. And I can't even hold it together. Taco Bell and pizza and coffee.
Well, thank you so much for the unbelievable support, Mr. Arnie Yunt. And thank you for the congratulations as well. You are helping this channel to keep rolling. You're helping us to get on towards law school. Well, actually, that one won't be going towards law school. That one will be going towards guns, ammo, and some Taco Bell, pizza, and coffee. And I have to tell you, folks, Taco Bell is not that bad. It's not bad at all. I'm tired of pretending it's not. It's not bad. Not bad at all, Governor. But still, thank you so much for the massive support, Arnie Yunt, and thank you for the congratulations as well. It means a lot to us that people have been congratulating us the whole night tonight. In fact, it seems as though we aren't even answering really any questions tonight. We're really just accepting congratulations. And we are more than blown away by all of the support that we've gotten tonight, both in congratulations for the graduation, also support in general, because it's unbelievable to think of how much y'all help this channel to keep on running and how appreciative y'all are of it. And I just got to thank you so much once again. And so with that, I hope that does address that fairly well. Thank you so much once again, Ani. And let's see. I've got to be honest with you. I've got to be quite honest. I can't really think of any guns off the top of my head where I'm just like, oh, I got to have it. One gun that I do have on the list is to go get an M1 Garand again. I know where I can get them for about $750. That's very economical for an M1 Garand, and we will probably be reviewing that sometime around. If y'all don't know, that is the Garand Thumb's channel's favorite rifle, and it is not without reason. It is a great rifle, even now. But with that, I hope that does address that fairly well. Thank you so much once again for the support, Arnie Yunt, and with that, we're on to the next one. And thank you so much once again for the support.
Yes, indeed. And up next, we have a $12 super chat from Putin will hang in the middle of the Kremlin. And thank you very much for the support. They said congrats. And a question from the chat, please.
And thank you for the congratulations. And we will be making sure to grab a live chat question. And holy moly, but let's go grab that live chat.
And the live chat question is going to go to Val McCann, who says, is Mr. Corgi sad that Sheba is at the hospital? Yeah. And I can answer that one because I went through on my break and walked around. Mr. Corey's been allowed to stay out past his bedtime, and he is moping on the couch, unfortunately, and he does look quite sad, actually. Very sad to see it as well. But he'll be very perked up tomorrow or the next day when she comes back home.
Yeah, Mr. Corgi, he was a little sad before we even ran the show. And he's down in the dumps a little bit. He's down in the dumps whenever anyone's gone. Like, one of us can actually leave for the day to go run some errands, and he'll actually be down in the dumps a little bit. He won't be depressed, but he'll be a little sad that people aren't around, because he's a very sociable dog, and he loves everyone in the house, including Sheba. Although Sheba is really mean to him and beats him up a lot, he still loves Sheba, and Sheba loves Mr. Corgi, and the poor little baby, he's out there sulking. I didn't see it, but I know if Matthew's saying it, he's sulking for sure. And so, yes, Mr. Corgi is a little sad. And so with that, I hope that answers that fairly well. Thank you so much once again for sponsoring that live chat, by the way. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and the next one goes to Arnie YDT once again, who puts in a massive $200 donation. And Arnie, thank you very much for being very generous. And he says, 2 of 2, you guys do an awesome job, and thank you, and keep moving forward. And I wish your puppy well, and I tried to send more, but it won't let me, and I'll get rest tomorrow.
Yes. I see you know your judo well. I don't know why, but when he said wish your puppy well, I was like, oh, yes. I see you wish your puppy well.
Good one. Get your hands off my. But anyway,
thank you so much for the support, Arnie. And now I realize that your first super chat had 1 of 2 on it. This still took me by surprise, and I thank you for the additional massive support. And also, thank you for saying we do an awesome job. We try our best. And I give it my damnedest every night to make sure that we put on the best news. Matthew gives it his damnedest every time he puts out a tweet to make sure that the tweets we put out are the best tweets we can possibly think of. Everything we do, we always try and make sure it's the best because we want to make sure that we aren't wasting any of y'all's time. And we value that so many of y'all find this channel worthwhile to watch it all. And so we always want to make sure that everything is top notch for y'all. And I thank you so much for enjoying that and appreciating that because I hope that our efforts aren't just in vain. And we'll be making sure to keep moving forward, and hopefully we'll be able to move forward with the little baby Booty, which is also another name that we gave to Shiva, with at our side again. Although she'll probably be sleeping. Well, she is sleeping all the time whenever we run this stream. She sleeps a lot through the day too. But still, I'll make sure. I tried to send more, but it won't let me. Is there a cap? Does YouTube cap
There
it?
is.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's weekly, I think.
Well, isn't that just stupid? But still, I think
That's to prevent money laundering, according to YouTube, I believe.
that's just stupid. Now I see why. Now I'm kind of seeing why people do the Patreon stuff. Because I didn't know that that was an actual rule. I always just thought that people would throw in massive super chats and then just peace out. And I was always like, oh, well, you know, that's a huge super chat. I understand why. I didn't know it was because
Like
of
the
that
cartel's going to be running like live streams, so that way people can launder money back to the like legit means.
Yeah, and anyways, you have to have a Google AdSense account to do that too, which requires a lot of verification. That doesn't make any sense at all. That makes no sense. But anyways, make sure to get some rest tomorrow, Ani Yunt. And thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. And so with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much for the massive support you've shown us tonight, because it does help this channel to keep on rolling, and it helps us to keep on doing cool things like graduating. And so with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to CK Bold, who puts in a $10 super chat and says, take a live chat question. And of course, CK Bold, we will. And thank you very much for your support. And this live chat question goes to, cooperate spreadsheet, cooperate. It goes to The Observer, who says, how many seconds after Ukraine gets F-16s do you think it'll take Russia to claim to have blown it up with zero proof?
About 2. About 2 at best. It would take 1 second for the soldier to announce the statement, and then it would take another second for Russian news to say they immediately destroyed one, and then have no proof for it. I would say 2 seconds. So with that, I hope that answers the question for The Observer, and thank you, CK Bold, for sponsoring that live chat as well. And with that, we are on to the next one. And apparently, Arnie Yunt said, the pop-up said you can only send $500 a day. That is dumb. I mean, you know, not a lot of people throw in $500 in super chats a night, but that makes no sense at all. The Ukraine dude does have a good point, though. He said, is good, because what if it was a stolen card? If it was a stolen card, I think they could dispute the charges regardless the size. But that is a good point. I didn't know that, though. I never knew that there was a cap to that. But with that, we are on to the next one. A very interesting point.
And the next one goes to John Clark, who puts in a $10 super chat and says, congratulations with the confetti, the balloon, and the champagne, I think.
Hey! And thank you so much for the support. We're pouring ourselves champagne right now. That cheap kind that you buy from the store. It's actually grape juice called sparkling something, but I think you. I guess we're alcohol free. But still, I thank you so much for the support and helping this channel to keep on running, and also congratulating us on graduating. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope I addressed that fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Carson Larimore, who puts in a $10 super chat and says Russian jets have longer radar capabilities compared to Ukraine's, and RF jets can see them first, and that's why Ukraine needs them to level the playing field.
I thank you for the support. I'd actually have to disagree with you there, because the Soviet Union broke apart, and most of the aircraft that both sides are using are Soviet vintage. And so they actually are pretty much identical to each other in almost every single way. At least from what I understand. I might be wrong, though. You might be right. So we'll work off of that, and I'll certainly agree with you. Even if it is a correct statement or incorrect, that they should get F-16s in Western aircraft to level the playing field. quote-unquote, level the playing field. I would agree with you on that. And so with that, thank you so much for the support. I hope that does address that fairly well. And with that, Tom Exman said, I donate over Western Union and MoneyGram a lot, and they restrict me like that. It's bank government rules. And, you know, Western Union, every time I hear Western Union, it's always some guy on the phone with me. He's from Nigeria, and he says one of my relatives died down there. Now, if you all know me, being full-blooded British and Scandinavian, it's kind of weird that I have a relative living in Nigeria. But nonetheless, they say on the phone I do, and they're always asking me to send them just $100 through Western Union to help them to be able to get the funds. Don't know why. I've given them $100 about 7 times, and just have never gotten the money. Kind of odd, if you ask me. But still. Yes, that is very interesting. I didn't know that there were bank government rules like that. But with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running.
All right, and up next, we have a $10 super chat from Randy Tosto, who says, since day 262, first time post, air-to-air missiles are needed. If not F-16, then A-10 could do the job.
And thank you for the support. I would certainly agree that we should see missiles going to Ukraine sometime around, and hopefully soon. And so with that, thank you so much once again for support. I definitely agree with you. Western aircraft or Western missiles. And with that, we are on to the next one. Of course, thank you once again.
And also, I was thinking, because I saw a lot of people saying, like Tom Exman said, Western Union blocked me permanently. If you have problems with the Western Union, why don't you try the Eastern Union?
You know, that's a good point, Matthew. And, you know, if you ever have a problem with the Western or the Eastern Union, why not just try the Union? You know, they did win the Civil War, after all.
Well.
I mean, they did win the Civil War. I mean, if they could do that, I'm sure they're pretty good. But anyways, Daniel Murray said, shouldn't give Carsey. No, don't do that. But anyways, with that, we are on to the next one. And I'm just kidding about the whole Nigerian prince thing. All of y'all, of course, know about the famous scam. I've never given any money to them. I think actually one time we had one of them ask us if we liked One Direction. And it was weird because
the band.
Yeah,
the band.
the band One Direction. They said, "Do you like One Direction?" And then we said, "No, we like Two Direction." And then the guy on the other end of the phone asked us if we were homosexuals. And it was just the weirdest thing. It was the weirdest thing ever. And then the guy said something like, we hit your towers, they blow up. And then we were like, what? It's like, where are you, man? And he was in the middle of ISIS-held territory. I don't know. But saying that, you would think he would be. Anyways, with that, we're on to the next one.
All right, and up next, we have a $10 super chat from Rotormax, who says, congratulations, guys, on your achievements. And thank you, Rotormax.
And thank you, Rotormax, for the support and congratulating us on the achievements. And hopefully, they were good achievements. One will only be able to tell. If I start winning more internet arguments, it has to be a good achievement. And so with that, I hope that does address that fairly well. Thank you once again for the support. And the live chat's going wild down there, man. Apparently, this was just a great dialogue. But with that, we are on to the next one. Thank you once again for the support.
And up next, we have a $10 super chat from Jerry S., who says, congrats, guys. And thank you, Jerry, very much for the support.
Thank you for the support, Jerry, and helping us to keep this channel running. And thank you for congratulating us on graduating. It was a big day for us, and we're very happy to have finally graduated. And so with that, thank you once again. I hope that does address that fairly well. And we are on to the next one. And also, good night to BC Skyman.
And good night to you, BC. And up next, we have a $10 super chat from Thomas Kruger, who says, congrats to you both on your graduation.
And thank you for the congrats on graduating. And thank you for helping this channel to keep on running. Your support is helping this thing to keep on rolling. And if it wasn't for folks like you, it wouldn't be possible. And so with that, I hope we address that once again fairly well. Thank you once again for the support. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Raj Kapoor, who puts in a $10 super chat. He says, congratulations on your graduation, and what's your opinion of the History Channel? I used to watch Pawn Stars and Storage Wars until I heard it was fake.
And I thank you for the support. I hate the History Channel because it's not history. Let me go to History Channel programming. The History TV's schedule. Let's go take a look. All right, so right now,
Ancient Aliens.
They're running Ancient Aliens. After that, they'll be running another episode of Ancient Aliens. After that, another episode of Ancient Aliens. After that, another episode of Ancient Aliens. After that, they'll then be running Info Documentaries, Season 4, Episode 1. After that, they'll then be playing Season 4, Episode 1 of Info Documentaries. After that, they'll then be playing Modern Marvels is actually one of the few things.
Yeah.
It's one of the few things I respect about the History Channel. It's not really historical in any way, but it is interesting nonetheless, and I find it to be of caliber. The Boo's best bets and sex that built America. It's interesting, I suppose. But you know, things I find interesting are different than other people. I'm not really one for this kind of history because it's just more so history of things that were borderline throughout most of history criminal. And of course, you know, mafias, gangsters, and all that stuff are one thing. But, you know, I wasn't really a big fan of any of the special documentaries made on CNN where they would just travel to a country and instead of learning about the food and the culture and their customs or anything, you just learned how much the prostitutes cost in that country because, you know, it's like, why? You know, it's like there were so many other things that you could talk about in that country. Why talk about that? You know, it's just kind of weird. The food that built America, though, this sounds interesting. But I've got to be honest with you, I don't like Ancient Aliens at all. It's silly. It doesn't have any backing whatsoever. And I remember when the American History Channel used to be the military channel, and it was far better when it was the military channel. But I'm not a big fan of history. Well, the History Channel. It's just not really a history channel for the most part. But with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address that fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to the notorious GRG, who puts in a $10 super chat and says, "Congratulations to you both, and may all your dreams for the future come true. I've been watching since the first two mods left, and you called for Bot Enforcer Matt. I wish I could donate more often."
And thank you so much for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. And also, thank you for the well wishes as well. Hopefully everything will come true. That's going to be tough, though. That's a tall order. And one of the first wishes I'd have is that Shiva comes out of the vet perfectly fine. But as I said, it may be slightly possible that she goes blind in one eye, and I hope she comes out without even being blind in an eye and perfectly fine. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope I addressed that fairly well, and thank you so much for helping this channel to keep on running and backing us up and helping us to keep this thing going. And also, to answer something from the live chat real quick, I actually saw some people talking about the programming on History Channel. They used to run proper documentaries, you see, and they were on interesting stuff. I don't know if it's that they found out that their only demographic left is that demographic that watches that kind of stuff, because they're obviously running it because it gets some kind of ratings. But it's nothing that I'm interested in watching at all. Like when I watch history stuff, I want to know history stuff. You know, like if you're going to talk about, you know, booze and, you know, things like that, it's like, you know, talk about it in a way where it's actually historical instead of just saying, liquor costs 5 cents in the Midwest, you could get plastered. It's like, okay, it's like, what does this have to really do with anything? Like, how does this tie into anything rather than just letting me know how plastered I could have been 150 years ago? You know, like, that's my thing. And also, Ancient Aliens is just stupid. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Because they sit there and go, did the U.S. win World War II, or did aliens win World War II for the U.S.? It's like, I don't know. You tell me. How about all of the, like, 60 million people that died in that war? I feel like they died without the help of aliens. You know, I feel like it was just a person-on-person thing. You know, and that whole thing is a meme. And then they sit there and have, like, the dumb Amelia Earhart shows where they're like, where did Amelia Earhart go? And they just bust your balls for 45 to 50 minutes. And then at the end of the documentary, they tell you, we really don't know where she is. It's like, then why waste 50 minutes of my time telling me you don't know? You know, it's silly. You can figure that out in 2 seconds. Like I say, we don't know. And that's it. But yes, I'm not a big fan of the History Channel. Anyway, so that we're on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Ryan9000, who puts in a $10 super chat, and he says, how about a Welsh accent?
Oh, man, I wish I could. We did go to Wales. We did hear Welsh people. I never got down their accent well. So unfortunately, I don't think I could do a Welsh accent. I used to do a great Scottish accent. You could ask Matthew about that years ago. I could belt out a Scottish accent so well that I did it one time in Britain, and someone actually thought I was from Scotland. It was a pretty good one. But I've lost it now. I haven't done it in such a long time, I can't do it anymore. but sadly, Welsh accent, I don't have one right now. I could work on one, though. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. Sadly, Ryan, I don't think I can do it, at least for now. And with that, we are on to the next one. Thank you once again for the support.
All right, and up next, we have a $10 super chat from Hunter Stevens. And thank you, Hunter, for the support. He says, I meant Toronto Maple Leafs defeating Tampa Bay Lightning, not you two. Late to the party, and congrats on graduating.
And thank you for the support and the congratulations on graduating. It means a lot to us to make sure that we're graduating. And thank you so much once again for the support. It's greatly appreciated. I'm trying to do the Scotch accent. I can't do it. It used to be so much better. You could ask Matthew. But still, thank you once again. It's okay that you're late. It's fine. We never like, you know, give anyone a hard time.
Whenever
for being
what?
late. What happened? We never give anyone a hard time for being late. Never. Because I'm just happy that you were here at all. And I thank you so much once again for support and helping this channel to keep on running. And I hope we address that fairly well. And so with that, we're on to the next one. Thank you for the support.
All right, and up next, we have a $5 super chat from Lorian Notsky, who says, partisans should learn how to use U-Haul trucks. Now see, that one scares me to read that one off, because even though it is a super chat, I don't know if things are picked up by the government or not, and I'm scared to read that one off. But very interesting idea. I'm not sure if there are U-Haul trucks over there in that area, but if there are, they might be able to use them. But Enforcer, if you've seen the comment, what say you?
Well, I thank you for the support. Sadly, I didn't see the comment, so I can't really comment on it too well. But hey, you know, U-Haul's a U-Haul. So that we're on to the next one. And thank you for helping this channel to keep on running.
All right, and up next, we have a $5 super chat from Chase Maddie, who does not leave a comment. But Chase, thank you very much for the support as always. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Slava Something, who says, Morse update. I've been practicing the recognition of the letters, far from deciphering the code, but I can identify a few sounds without the chart.
Hey, that's pretty cool. And I wish you the best of luck. And it sounds like you're already making progress. And hopefully you are able to progress into an area where you can decipher the entire Morse code. I can't do that accent, man. I'm going to have to work on it. But still, thank you for the support. I hope that does address that fairly well. And good job, and keep it up. The LSA is proud of you. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Loren Notsky once again, who puts in a $5 super chat and says, I have a dream. That dream is to hear Ukraine playing Flight of the Valkyries with A-10s going brrr and Russia going bliat.
Oh, suka blue. That's and then the airplane flies over. But still, I would say that's actually not that bad of a dream. I have a dream that one day A-10s will fly over the hills of Ukraine. They'll be burning everyone out of their damn trenches. But still, thank you for the support. Thank you for the support, helping the channel to keep on running. And I hope I addressed that fairly well, because that's not a bad dream at all. I backed that one up 100%. And so with that, we're on to the next one. And thank you once again for the support.
And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Russ Rizzo, who says, with my dog, I don't get no respect. He keeps barking at the front door. He don't want to go out. He wants me to leave.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, I get no respect around here. Not even from my dog. Oh, man, it's real bad for my dog. Even worse than my family. Oh, man, I'm telling you. He used to bark at the door, but it wasn't to go outside for a walk. It was for me to leave. Oh, man, I'm telling you. It got even worse than that. My wife didn't even want me around. She sat there and said, hey, the dog's better than you. Oh, man, I'm telling you. I never had such disrespect in my life. Oh, man. And I just realized that could be taken a way worse way than it was supposed to be. Oh, man. Oh, no. But anyways, with that, we're going to be moving on to the next one. Thank you once again for the support, and I hope we addressed that fairly well.
And the next ones, we have a $5 super chat from Ben Tommen, we have a $2 super chat from Dupper Bob, and a $2 super chat from Maddie. And they all say, congratulations on your graduation, and Slava Ukraine.
And thank you to all of y'all so much for the support. And the congratulations on graduating. It means a lot to us that we graduated today. It was a very special day for us, very neat. And it was fun to go out there and walk across the stage and shake some people's hands and then leave. And so with that, thank you once again to all of y'all for the support. And thank you for the congratulations. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and that was our last super chat question. So once again, thank you all very much for the support. And we're moving into our live chats. And up first, we have the Morse code decoders of the stream. And tonight, I believe the only one I saw was Mark Hodges, but he did figure it out. He said, LSA tonight's Morse reads, it's the time of year. The Russian headquarters are beginning to bloom mushroom clouds. Slava Ukraine and Slava LSA.
That's the sound of money. And I don't know why I said it so stressed out tonight. I don't know why. But that is the correct Morse code message. It's that time of year, and the Russian headquarters are starting to bloom. They're beautiful, beautiful, impressive mushroom cloud blooms. They're beautiful, I tell you. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. You're listening to Ocean FM, which is an Irish radio channel. And with that, hopefully this is a good Irish accent. I don't know. That's not a good Irish accent. That's a terrible one. Anyways, with that, thank you for deciphering the Morse code message, Mark Hodges. You are the only Morse code decoder that we know of tonight. If there are any others that are present in the live chat, let your voices be known, or else forever hold your peace. And with that, we're going to be moving on to the next one. But thank you once again for always deciphering. Well, actually, you didn't last night, or at least from what we know. But thank you for deciphering the Morse code message tonight. And so with that, we're on to the next one. And I hope I addressed that fairly well.
All right, and moving back into our super chats for one moment, we got one more. This one is from Zyper Sniper 1 yet again, who puts in a $10 super chat and says, have you heard about a game called Unrecord? I might be the most realistic looking game I have ever seen.
I have heard of a game called Unrecord. Have you, Matthew?
I have not.
Let me pull it up for you and show you a YouTube video of it. Let's see here. On record. Let's see, record gameplay. This was posted on IGN's website 10 days ago. It's gotten 6.5 million views. Now I have to say, in my opinion, this has to be one of the most realistic looking video games that I've ever seen. What you're looking at right now is the video game, and I'm going to let it play. What you're looking at,
a video game?
What you're looking at right here is a video game called Record. It's brand new to the gaming world. It works on virtual reality, and it recreates realistic spaces and realistic actions.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Was it a police?
It is a police simulator, yes.
Oh. Is this Unreal Engine 5?
It has to be. It's the most impressive graphics I've ever seen in a game so far.
This is scary real.
I know, I mean,
if they can do this, it's like they can make anything fake.
And just remember, what you're watching right here is a video game.
The shadows and the textures are so real. That's what really gets me.
Wait a minute, it jammed? No way, no way, no. No, they make the guns where they actually jam sometimes. Now that's unreal.
Now that part's not very realistic.
Nah, not really. But still, the graphics are amazing.
Where the fuck is Oscar?
And that's the official early gameplay trailer that was shown on IGN 10 days ago. I've heard about this game. It is amazing, and I can't wait to actually see it out there in the open world. And so with that, I thank you so much once again for the support, and I hope I answer that fairly well, Zyper Sniper. And of course, I'm a huge fan of games, and hopefully they'll be coming out here in the future. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope I addressed that fairly well, and we're on to the next one.
All right. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Notorious GRG, who says, I know, excuse me, I know Sheba will be fine, regardless if she's blind in one eye. My Demi is mostly blind and hard of hearing, and she somehow manages the stairs at age of 15.
And thank you so much for the support, Notorious GRG. And Sheba will be fine. And of course, she'll be fine regardless whether she goes blind in an eye or not. But I don't want her to go blind in an eye because the poor little thing's so sweet to end up missing an eye. It seems as though the vet said nothing about her possibly losing vision in one of her eyes when we called and checked. So I don't think she will be. Hopefully she doesn't. And you know, I hate to think that that it was even a possibility, and that's what even enrages me more against the snakes, is that they possibly could have left our dog blind in an eye, and that's why we're going to make sure that they are blinded in both their eyes and not even living tomorrow.
Put some dirt in their eyes.
We're going to put more than dirt in their eye. We're going to put a nice steel shovel blade in their eyes. But with that, thank you once again for support. I hope that does address that fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one. Thank you so much once again for the support.
All right, and we are moving back into our live chat questions, and this one goes to Gus Pritchett, who says, Enforcer, have you heard about the assassination attempt with drone on Putin?
I haven't heard about that, actually, and I'll have to try and look around for it, but right now I'd have to declare ignorance on that one, and with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Eric Kress, who says, Enforcer, what do you guys think about a nuclear war will happen because of North Korea before anyone else?
I think it's highly unlikely for North Korea because North Korea really just uses their nukes for leverage to try and get some kind of a food or appeasement, I guess you could say, agreement. It wouldn't happen with North Korea. They're starving. They're literally starving. And one thing that they know is that if they fired off nukes and aggression towards the West, no one would really come to defend them. The Chinese wouldn't even come to defend them at that point because then they're just stupid. You know, the North Koreans are just stupid, and there's no point in even helping them. And so with that, I hope that does address that fairly well, and we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Plexus Gaming, who says, is it true there's a buildup of Russian troops in Belarus all the way to the Finnish border?
I haven't heard about that, actually. I would have to declare ignorance on that because I have not heard or seen any proof of that happening. But I'm not really sure because I haven't heard of it at all, really. So with that, I hope that does address that the best I can. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Smell Me Fingers, who says, how long till the nutsack falls from the window?
I gotta be honest with you, it can't be long. I mean, a lot of people are thinking that he's going to be around for a while. He's saying so much stuff, and he's getting so belligerent at this point. It can't be much longer. He's going to be falling out of a window some point in the future. And hell, I would say even now he could be falling out of the window as we're speaking right now. So with that, I hope that it answers that question fairly well. And we are on, and I know Matthew's exhausted, and that's why I sat there and took a pause for a minute because I'm like, how much longer are we going to answer questions? We're going to answer 3 more questions and then round out tonight's stream. So with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Montern, who says, have you seen that the Chechens are angry with Russia for them blocking a place of worship being built?
Yes, we did. We actually saw that a while ago, and they were threatening death onto Muscovites for refusing the mosque to be built. They actually followed through in burning down a large church in Moscow in response to the mosque being denied a building permit. And it appears that there is a decent amount of religious tensions in Russia right now in between the Chechens and the Eastern Orthodox Russians in the north. And so with that, I hope that does answer that fairly well. And with that, we are on to the second to last question of the night.
And this one goes to Trister1. He says, thoughts on Russia use of thermal blanket shields to avoid thermal targeting?
Thermal blanket shields. It's a good idea. Thermal blanket shields are a good idea to mask against thermal camera. It's not a bad idea whatsoever, and a lot of countries are trying to figure out how to integrate, I guess you could say, thermal camouflage into their normal camo that soldiers wear on the battlefield. There isn't a camo that actually does that full on as its purpose right now. There are some that mask infrared and night vision a little bit better, but there is not one that was purpose made for that yet. There are some nets, however, for vehicles that do that, but none for the infantry yet. But I think that's not really that bad of an idea, in all honesty. And so with that, I hope that does address that fairly well, and then we're going to answer the whole family super chat and then go to the final question of the night.
All right, and we have the whole family. Billy, Joe, Carl, Bob, Danny, and Frank, who puts in a $5 donation and says, woohoo! Huge congrats to both of you. But damn, Andrew/Matthew Gump. This is a company record. Why the hell did you do it so fast? Graduate.
Because I was told, do it, drill sergeant. I'm trying to do a Forrest Gump as good as I can. Jenny, you just gave me AIDS, Jenny. No, we never covered that in the movie, but you gave me HIV and AIDS, Jenny. I'm gonna end up like you, Jenny. But anyways, here you are for that. We just did it because we could. Why not? So with that, of course, thank you so much for congratulations again to the whole family, and thank you for helping this channel to keep on running, even this far into the stream. And so with that, we are on to the final question of the night. And so, who is the lucky last person who asked the lucky last question of the night?
And that viewer is David Trace. He says Australia has 75 F-18s that were well maintained, and they're being mothballed. And do you think that Ukraine could use those?
Oh, certainly they could use the F-18s. The F-18's landing gear is rated for rougher tarmacs, shorter runways, harder landings. It can carry a decent amount of ordnance. It can carry really everything an F-16 can. And it's on a much more durable and rugged platform. I think the Ukrainians could certainly make good use of those F-18s, in my opinion. But once again, that is up for the Ministry of Defense to decide. But I think it would be a best decision to make to try and get those F-18s if the offer was ever made. And so with that, I hope that does address that question fairly well. And it is the end of tonight's stream. I thank you all so much once again for joining us for the day 430 news of the war in Ukraine. And I also thank you all so much once again for being here after we've graduated. We finally are both bachelors of the arts and sciences. And it is unbelievable to think that throughout the entirety of this stream, we've been in college. And now tomorrow, for the first day ever, we will not be in college while running this stream, and tomorrow is the Sunday fundraiser. I'm already pretty determined that tomorrow will be a fundraiser for Humane Society operating in Ukraine due to what happened to Sheba and also the poor sight of the dogs that were down in the area of Zatolka. And so y'all can most likely expect that that will be the fundraiser tomorrow to try and help save those sweet little dogs that are currently abandoned in terrible places. But thank you all so much once again for coming tonight. If y'all did enjoy, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as this channel runs every single day of the week, 6 days a week at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, covering the past 24 hours of the news of the war in Ukraine each and every day. And you can always count on us to be here every single night at the exact same spot, doing the exact same thing in the name of supporting Ukraine. And so with that, good night, good luck, take care, stay safe, and of course, Slava Ukraini! And thank you all once again for the congratulations on the graduation.
And good night, Slava Ukraine, and thank you all once again. And we are now bachelors.
Yes.
The Leaf Street Army sends its regards.
Ще не вмерла України ні слава, ні воля. Ще нам, браття українці, усміхнеться доля. Згинуть наші вороженьки, як роса на сонці, запануємо ми, браття, у своїй сторонці. Душу й тіло ми положим за нашу свободу.